Hey guys, Carl from Moose Plays. Today I'm taking a look at Luthier, the Art of the Instrument, from designers Dave Beck and Abe Burson and publisher Paverson Games. This is a predominantly worker placement game in which you find yourself as a luthier trying to build and repair instruments, getting seats into the orchestra using your instruments and performances being performed by your instruments, bringing in things like resource management and a bit of area majority as well into the game, plus a sort of interesting bidding style system that's connected to that worker placement system. Disclaimer, I was given a review copy of this game for this video, but as always, I will do my best to give you my own honest opinion on the game. With that said, let's head down to the table to see how this one plays, and then I'll meet you back up here to let you know what I think. Before I get started, I do just want to point out that this is a very large game and will take up a lot of space, so I will be using two cameras, and I will be sort of rearranging things to fit as best on screen as possible. With that said, to set up a solo game of Luthier, begin by placing out the game board on the table. And already you will see that this sort of just barely fills the screen. I just want to show you the edges. There are nothing that is being cut off on the screen. And then up here on top, we're going to put the round tracker that does sort of finish the picture of the building. And normally when you play or when you set up, you would then put this market tile down here at the bottom of that board, but I don't want to zoom all the way out to have that show up on screen, and it doesn't really need to be attached to the board at any point for any reason. So I'm going to play this over on the other screen with our player boards. So you'll see that in just a minute. Next, we're going to be placing out some of these public objective tiles at random based on the number of people playing. For a two-player game, which is what the AI version is simulating, I will be playing with 3 of these. I'm going to put these out and I'll explain what they do later when we get into how the game plays. So we've got 1, 2, and 3 like that. Now the next thing to do is to place out all of the cards on this board, but before I do that, there is a special setup for the two-player game. So I want to go ahead and finish that first. And the first step of that is you will see there are these 2 sort of overlay tiles that are marked as 1 to 2 players on the back. Those are going to go onto these, backwards, these 2 tracks like this and like this. And basically that's just shortening the length of those 2 card tracks. And then also before I place out the cards, I need to sort of set up a dummy player that's going to sort of get in our way and sort of compete with us and the AI for certain things. And that dummy player is going to place out things here in the orchestra, which I'll explain later when I get into gameplay. But the reason I need to do that now is because that will also affect what cards get placed or don't get placed in this area up here. So to do that, I'm going to take these stack of these cards here, giving those a shuffle, and drawing one of those at random, which is going to determine which of the spaces in my orchestra pit that I am going to place out components sort of as a dummy player. So I'm going to place that right there. And then for this playthrough, I will be using the yellow components for the dummy player. So you can see here in this location, these 2 locations, and these 2 locations here, I'm going to place out instrument markers. These 2 places here, we're going to put out some repair tokens, and these 2 locations right here and here, I'm going to be placing out music or performance tokens. Just like that. And then also at the bottom of this card, you will see the 3 different public objective tiles that I just placed out. And this is going to show me one of the scoring sort of markers or locations on those 3 cards that will be covered by the dummy. So I'm going to cover the middle one on the left objective, the right space on the middle objective, and the left space on the right objective. So again, that is the middle space here, the rightmost space here, and then the leftmost space over here like that, blocking off those scoring possibilities for us in the game. And now, again, I mentioned here placing out the 4 different types of cards, which are the patron cards, the instrument cards, the performance cards, and the repair cards. For the patron cards, there are 2 different types, so I'm going to split those into A and B decks, giving each of those a shuffle, and then I'm going to place the A cards on top of the B cards, placing them out right there. Next, over here, the instrument cards, I need to look at this board here, and for each of the different instruments that already has an instrument token on it, for example, this double bass, this oboe, bassoon, harpsichord, and baroque guitar, I'm going to look through this deck and remove one card matching that instrument type. So again, one of those was the bassoon. So for example, I will be removing that bassoon card, and I'm going to go ahead and pull out one card of each of those different instruments. So again, those 5 cards are the bassoon, oboe, double bass, harpsichord, and baroque guitar. And those 5 cards will be removed from the game for this play because they've already sort of been played by the dummy player. And then the remaining instrument cards, I'm just going to give a good shuffle, and then I'll place that deck out here on that spot. For the other 2 decks, it's just a matter of finding the cards and shuffling them. So I will take these performance cards, give those a good shuffle, placing those here. And you'll notice now that that spot is no longer there in the solo or 2-player game. Same thing over here with the repair cards, giving those a good shuffle and placing those out on their space as well. And now that I've done that, I'm going to reveal cards filling in all of the empty spaces, but not putting any cards into these locations that say 3 to 4 players or 4 players. So filling in all of these like that. We are done with this card. It can go away. It will never be used again. It is only used in setup. On this main board, we also need to place out the round tracker on round 1 up here at the top. And then I also need to prepare some other cards that I'm going to sort of place out around here. One of those are these Royal Patron cards. I'm going to give these a good shuffle. And we're going to place out a number of cards equal to the number of players plus 1, which will be myself and the AI plus 1. So 3 cards. So 1, 2, 3 of those. And I'm just going to stick those up here at the top of the screen like that. The rest of those go back into the box. And the same thing is true for the 3 specialty worker decks. So there is this specialty worker deck that associates with the balcony, a specialty worker deck that associates with this repair action over here, and another specialty worker deck that connects to this performance area over here. I'm going to shuffle each of those and again deal out a number of cards equal to the number of players plus 1, so 3 each of those as well. Placing those up here just to the top right of the screen so that they are on screen for you to see. Now, that's not completely finished setting up because there are some things that I need to put on the board for both myself and the AI as far as player components go. But let's go ahead and set up the sort of player board area, and then I'll come back and add those things to the board as we do that. However, I do want to point out one more thing for this performance area. I do also need these dice. But because of the lack of space on screen, I am going to put these dice over on the player board area as well. All right, then over here in our player board area, first thing we need is the 2 of us are going to have player boards. For this playthrough, I will be playing as gray, which is this board right here, placing that out on the screen. I do need to make sure that there's space on both sides of here for cards, but that should be good, and if I need to move it around, I can. The AI also needs a board. The AI boards are on the reverse side of the player board. So AI is going to be playing red this time, but they will use this side of the board, placing that here. They don't really have the same requirement of cards on the sides like I do, so I'm going to place that out just like that. And again, I'll move things around if need be. But then on the AI board as well, I need to place some markers out. I'm not sure what's going to look best on screen, but it looks to me like those white markers should be visible at least enough. Each of these tracks will get 1 of these cubes on it like that. And then 1 more is going to go down here in this sort of private objectives track, which I'll explain a little bit later. But then the AI has a set of AI cards with each of the 3 actions represented in levels 1, 2, and 3, and they're going to level up as they go through the game, but these sort of extra cards won't be used at the beginning of the game. I'm going to set those off to the side and pull them in when I need to, but the AI is going to start with 1 of each of the 6 actions, 5 on the board plus their workshop over here on their board, all level 1s, shuffled up and placed right here onto their player board. Then before I go ahead and set up all the player stuff, I am going to, as I mentioned before, place out this market right here in the center. And those performance dice I mentioned before as well, I'm just going to stick, doesn't really matter where they go, right there for right now. And I'll move them around and use them as I need to. Also, before I finish setting up, just to finish setting up the market deck, I'm going to take this deck of cards, and you'll notice that they have numbers down here in the bottom corner. I don't know how well you can see that, but that says M1, and that means that this is the first round card. The rest of the cards will get shuffled, and I'm going to place those face down on that round 1 card so that when I flip it over, this is round 1, and we'll sort of flip through those as we go in to the game. So that's going to stay just like that. And now to set up our location, setting up my area first because the AI won't use all of the pieces that I will be using. Associated with that market, and the AI doesn't do this, I'm going to put out this little market cart on the left side of the market, and I'm also going to be placing these 3 apprentice chips on the market board as well. Also sort of in my starting hand, in my starting supply, I will start with 1, 3, and 5 leveled worker chips. The others will go on the main board in a minute, but let me finish setting up over here. And actually let me keep those down here. I then also need my supply of instrument tokens. Again, there is some space off the bottom of the screen, so if any of this is cut off, I'm sorry, but I do want to keep things sort of clear for other things I need to use. Then also my performance and repair tokens in my color. And then onto my board, I'm going to place these 3 cubes out at the start of these 3 tracks here, as well as these 3 sort of achievement markers in these 3 spots that match that shape. And then I need to sort of gather all of my starting stuff. And what that means is I'm going to draw 2 instrument cards, 2 patron cards, 2 family tiles, and 4 personal goals. So the patron cards and the instrument cards will come straight from those decks that I built on the main board. So I've got for my patrons potentially Ludwig II and Caccini. I'm going to put those there for a second. I've got a transverse flute and a timpani potentially. Then for the families, I'm going to take these family tiles again, shuffling those and taking 2 of them, which are the Walter family and the Erard family. And then finally, again, personal goals, which are these cards right here, giving those a shuffle. And I'm going to take 4 of those. And now from all of this stuff that I've got in front of me, I need to select 1 family, 2 of these personal objectives, 1 patron, and 1 starting instrument. And to do that, I should really pay attention to how all of these things combine together. I'm going to explain a little bit about how that works right now, but I will obviously then come back to all of those things as I'm playing through the game. But I do want to finish setting this up because I can't do the next step to set up the AI until I finish setting up my own board. All right then, so first looking at these 2 cards, this is actually interesting because they're both going to be very similar at the start, except for how much it's going to cost me to get things done. You'll see this here is going to be the type of instrument I need to make for that patron. And these are both horns, so we'll come back to what the other things are, but just quickly here, this means I need to either repair another horn or perform in a performance matching their symbol. And here again, repair a piano or a sort of percussion instrument, or again, perform another performance in their type. So they're both horns, which means looking at these, I've got a percussion instrument and a horn instrument. I should definitely take that horn. So for that, we're definitely going to get rid of this. This will go to the bottom of the instrument deck on the main board. And then looking at the 4 potential goals that I have, this says instruments on the percussion instruments. This is repaired percussion instruments. This is having patrons of the 3 or of up to 3 different types or 3 different eras. And this is here having instruments on horns. Well, I see that I'm starting with a horn already. And assuming that I take this Ludwig II, I would also be needing to do a repaired piano, or sorry, percussion as well. So that might work well. Yeah, let's do that. We'll take those 2 and Ludwig II. So she goes away to the bottom of her deck. Sorry, in the case of the patron discarding, that goes out of the game permanently, as do the other 2 personal goals because they'll never come back again. And then I have to choose which family I'm playing with. And each of these families, in addition to the story that it tells you about who they were, has 3 pieces of information. First, this is going to determine who goes first on the first round. Whichever person, either myself or the AI, that has the lower number will be first in the first round. So a lower number means likelihood of going first. These are going to be the starting resources that I'm starting with. So these are the 3 different types of resource. And I'm going to get 1 of each here. This is how much money I'll start with, and this is how much of these sort of inspiration tokens. I'm sorry, I had to check the name of that. So we've got animal materials, which is like the cat gut we're using for strings. We've got wood and we've got metal. And then here, this is inspiration. And I'll show you what that does, but inspiration lets us sort of boost things in the game. And this bottom thing is their special sort of ability that makes them unique in the game. Every family has a variable sort of ability or starting condition. In this case, with the Erard family, I would also be starting with my level 2 worker. It means I've got 4 workers instead of 3 right at the beginning of the game, which lets me get more stuff done potentially. But I don't start with a ton of resources. Over here, the Walter family starts with 1 animal, 2 wood, and 0 metal, 2 lira, and 1 apprentice. Apprentice I'll explain later, but they're going to sort of help my workers become stronger when I play them for a single turn. And their ability says I get to draw the top 3 patron cards and place 1 on my board. So I'm basically starting with 2 patrons instead of 1. But I think I'm going to try this one. I haven't played with this one, and actually the game that I just played to sort of refresh the rules before getting into this was the second choice that I had that I didn't take. So I'm going to use this one, which means that that number 2 worker is going now to start in my available workers. So I'm actually going to start with 4 workers, which is really cool. That family then gets placed here on the portrait space on my board. This instrument is for right now just in my hand, so I'm just going to lay it down here. And this is going to get slotted into one of the 3 locations that I have available to me. I also need to do my starting resources, which I'll do in just a second. But the reason I was reminded of that is based on where I place this out, I'm going to get either 4 lira, 1 resource of my choice, or 1 apprentice. And looking here at the flute just for a minute, I need 1 wood and 1 metal to start working on this, and then I need 1 wood and 1 metal to finish building that instrument. So wood and metal is good, and I'm going to start with 1 wood and 1 metal. So for right now, I'm not so worried about resources. I don't start with any money though. And having an apprentice is always a nice thing because it does mean I have the ability to potentially get some bonus stuff or to get priority on actions over the AI. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll talk more about that when we play. But money is also going to be how I have access to some cards that I wouldn't normally, as well as how I can buy resources at the market. But I do also see, and again, getting ahead of myself, at the start of the first round, I'm going to get 4 money from him anyway. So I am going to slot them in there, getting myself 1 apprentice, because that will also help me show off how the apprentices work in gameplay. And again, these guys just kind of sit out here as a reminder of what I need to accomplish. And if that gets in the way, I can move them somewhere on the board. But with that, let's set up the AI. They're basically going to do the same thing we did with a few exceptions. First off, they have no market cart because they will never interact with the market. They'll never have resources. They'll never have money. They're only interacting with the board and scoring points, but they do still need all of their instrument tokens, as well as all of their repair and performance tokens. But the difference for their workers is that they are actually going to start with 1, 2, and 3 instead of 1, 3, and 5. And they're going to take those and they're going to sort of shuffle them up and mix them up in a different order so that they randomly come out. And I'm just going to stick those right here next to their board. Also, their objective markers don't need to go anywhere because they don't have anything that they're going to trigger by removing them from their board. So those I'll just set down here as well. And then for their patron, they are just simply going to take the top card of the deck, giving them whatever they get, and that is this guy this woman right here, Beck. So she'll get placed here in the left side patron slot on their deck. And then for her, we're going to look specifically at the instrument deck, searching through, looking just at the back of the cards, which I'll show you right here on this camera in just a second, until we find a percussion instrument, and that will be the one that they get. So looking here on the backs of the cards, you can see what instruments there are. And I'm going to keep going through until I find a percussion. So she will be starting with a harpsichord card, and that gets placed right above her. It's not really in a slot, it just means that that's associated with her because the way that they build instruments will be quite different than the way that I do so. And then that instrument deck just goes back to the main board without any change, as is. And like that, we're all set up on this screen here. So let's head over to the main board to place out the last couple of things that do need to get placed out. So first things first, we're going to place the score markers for each of us on the 0 of the score track. Normally, I would place my number 2 worker and my number 4 worker here, but because of my family, I've already started with my number 2 worker, so I'm simply going to place my number 4 there. But then for the AI, because they start with 1, 2, 3 instead of 1, 3, 5, they're going to place their 4 on this spot and their 5 on this spot. And that just means that as we pass through it from round to round, we will add that to our available workers. Next, for me, it doesn't really need to happen here, but I'm going to place out my 3 special workers onto the deck associated with them, because I will basically get that piece when I get that ability. And the AI will never get any of those, so it's not in the way for me to put them there. But the AI will use this marker simply to mark their space on here for another reason later that I will explain when that happens. So I'm just going to sort of stick that there so it's ready when I need it. And doing so, I just realized I did forget one large, very important thing over on the AI board, and that's because I need to think about the turn order. Now let me do that in just a second, because before I do that, I need to put one of my markers at the bottom space or the first space of each of these three sort of progress tracks. The AI does not ever interact with those. And then also off to the side of the screen, we've got these tokens that are 50 and 100 in each of the 2 colors. So should we ever loop the scoreboard, those are there for us. So we do need to think about the turn order, but to do that, I forgot one last setup on the AI side. And that is that the AI needs sort of their family as well. And to do that, they use this special deck of AI cards, shuffling those up, and they will draw 1. And what this is going to do is it's going to sort of dictate which AI we're playing against for that game. It's going to give them some priority stuff up here at the top. But then it's going to also set up some stuff for them here at the bottom. And what that says is this is going to be priority when they start scoring the objectives over there on the main board. And then these 3 things here, I need to increase their level. So they've got 1 in performance, they've got 1 in instruments, and they've got 1 on their balcony action at the start of the game. And again, I'll explain how all of this works when we get into gameplay, but for right now, I had to finish that setup. Also because their AI card has a number 8. My family tile has a number 7, so I will be going first in turn order, and I also have not yet taken my resources. So off to the side of the screen as well. Actually, no, I'll just put them on the screen. There are the 3 different types of resources. Again, animal, wood, metal. Let's stick those there. Off to the other side, I've got money, 1, 5, and 10. And I don't have anything fancy for these, but I do have these inspiration tokens. And again, for my starting resources, I will have 1 of each of these 3 resources. I get no money, but I do get 2 of these inspiration tokens, which I will keep over here, down there in the corner. And now back to the main board, because I am a 7 and he is an 8. I will be first turn, and he will be second turn, like that. And with that, we are all set up for the game. Aside from over on the player board screen, there is this track that we're going to use to sort of track the order of actions when each action is triggered. And I'll show how that works, but I'm also going to sort of use that to help me remember whose turn it is. And you'll see why that is when we get into gameplay. But then also there are these 3 really nice player aids that I will have handy to refer to as we get into things. This right here says player 3 gray with a description on it. This is sort of for your first game in multiplayer. This is a sort of suggested first round of what you do to help you learn the game. That means nothing to me right now in this video because I already know how to play and I'm playing solo. But on the back of that is a really nice walkthrough of everything that happens in a round, and I will use that to help explain that to you as it happens. This one here is a nice list of all of the different icons in the game, as well as, even more importantly, at the end of the game, this walks me through endgame scoring. And then finally, this really handy solo player aid is going to walk me through all of the things that the solo player does, as well as explaining the priorities it will use when it takes actions in the game. So I'm going to set those here. I'm going to have to move them out of the way because I will be placing cards here, but for right now, it's nice to have them there, and we will be using that in just a second. So a solo game of Luthier plays out over a series of 6 rounds, and we'll be taking turns back and forth on our turns, placing out workers, taking actions, and then resetting for the next round, doing that over a series of 6 rounds, ultimately hoping to score the most points. And instead of trying to front load everything on you, which I will still do some of, I'm going to sort of walk through a round of the game. And then once I've played my way through slowly that first round of the game and sort of explain how the game works as I do that, I will then just sort of play through the remaining 5 rounds, come back to explain endgame scoring, do the endgame scoring, and so on. So the first thing we're going to do at the start of a round says here I'm going to look for start of round bonuses, which is this little fire symbol. And right now we don't have any, but I do just want to show you what they look like. When I have finally finished everything this patron is asking me to do, they will flip over and slot under my board. And you'll see here, for example, this one says fire, which is that start of round action. I will gain 1 apprentice. So after I've completed this patron card at the start of every round, I will gain 1 apprentice, which is what that trigger is right there. The next thing it says is adjust the patron cubes and receive gifts. So at the start of every round, for every patron we have on our board, and the AI doesn't do any of this, they have no start of round stuff, I'm going to move the cube forward 1 space, triggering whatever it shows on the card above it, in this case 4 lira. So I'm going to take 4 of these coins, and then it says place instruments on the roughing bench. If I would like to, I can, from my hand, place an instrument onto the roughing bench, which is this left side of my board. And in order to finish an instrument, I have to build it or rough the instrument, meaning sort of build out the frame of the instrument, in which case it will move over here to this side of the board, and then I need to do finishing to complete the sort of detailed work on the instrument before it is completely made. So I will do that because, yes, I want to have that instrument working for Ludwig because he does want a horn, and that is a horn instrument or a brass instrument. Sorry, I should clarify winds and not brass because, yes, some of these are clarinets and oboes and so on, and not brass. So next we go into the planning phase, and this is where I'm going to sort of have to explain how the game works. So in my hand, I have generally 3 at the start of the game, but in this case 4 because of my family, workers that I can place out at a variety of different actions, which include these 2 right here, which will be my roughing action to move this from here to here, and my finishing action to completely build that instrument. But then also a variety of 5 actions on the board, which I will show you in just a second. But before we go over there, each of these numbers is going to be the strength of that worker. And it's going to determine 2 things. The strength is going to determine the sort of order that the pieces at that location are activated in. Means the higher the number, the more likely it is that you're going to activate that action first. And also it means that if the value is high enough, I will also be triggering a bonus action for the things that I'm doing. For example, here in the roughing section, if it's a 3 or higher, I will get to take 2 of these inspiration tokens. If it's a 5 or higher, I will pay 1 less resource for the thing that I'm doing. Same thing over here. If it's a 4 or higher, I pay 1 less resource. If it's a 6 or higher, I get to score the chair bonus, which I'll explain in just a minute, 2 times. So I don't need to have any specific value at these locations because I'm never competing on my own board with the AI. But when we head over to the main board, you'll see in just a second, I will be competing there. But before I do that, I do want to explain this in a little bit more detail. In order to take the roughing action, I need to have resources shown at this roughing section on the card, spending those to move that from the left to the right side of my board. And in order to take this finishing action, again, I have to pay what it shows down here, gaining this many points, and then placing out an instrument token of this instrument on the main board. And I want to point that out now so that when we head over to the main board, I can explain what that does. But also then, once it's done, it's going to flip over, and if I have a patron that needs that instrument, which in this case I do, it would slot underneath that patron, and this track here will slide all the way back to the left. And that's important because at the beginning of every round, this moves forward one. And if it ever gets to this last spot, that patron is going to leave without you having completed everything they want. And if I manage to complete all three of those things, in this case, or in the case of one that only has one or two, if I've completed everything that's shown on that card, I will score these points. I will advance on this track, which I'll show you in a minute. And this will flip over, slotting into one of these slots on my board, doing whatever it shows in that area. So let's head over to the other board to see exactly what I mean by actions and how things work. So over here on the main screen, we've got 5 actions. There's the salon, which is getting new patrons. There's the performance area, which means we're going to be completing performances. There's the guild over here where we're buying new instruments or gaining new instruments. And there's the repair area over here where we're repairing instruments. And then finally, there's the balcony up here, which is going to be how we score our public objectives or potentially get money or apprentices. And there's also some tracks here that sort of level up our ability to perform, level up our ability to repair, and this is sort of leveling up my general ability in the game. And I'll explain all of those details sort of as they happen, but let me talk about the 5 main actions. When I come to the salon, I can take this card for free. If I want to take this card, I need to spend a combination of 4 coins or inspiration. Here is 8 coins or inspiration, and I can always look through the deck for 10 coins and inspiration plus discarding 1 apprentice from my sort of hand of apprentices to look through this deck. But when I say look through this deck, I can only look at the back of the cards. I can't look at the front. And I can only keep going until I find the symbol that I'm looking for. So for example, if I was looking for this heart symbol, which is representing the Romantic era, and this card wasn't here, I could take that card. Actually, I guess if that card was there, if I'm paying for that, I can still go in here. But as soon as I see that symbol, I have to take that card. I can't take the second or third or fourth of that type. I have to take whatever the first one is. Instead of taking a patron, though, I could instead choose to simply take 1 apprentice token and 2 inspiration. Down here, it says that if I place a value of 4 or higher at this location on my main board, I will slide one of those squares, or those cubes below my patron all the way, sorry, not all the way, 1 space to the left, and then I get to trigger any of the bonuses on that card. So for example, here, I could select either to take an apprentice or 2 inspiration. Down here in the performance area, I can either choose to select to perform one of these performances or take 3 animal resources. And then if I place a 4 or higher, I will go up 1 space on this track. But let me explain what these are before I talk about the track. When you choose to take a performance, you're going to look at a couple of things. There are sort of 3 different levels of that performance you can perform in. And when you go here, you are going to roll these 2 white dice, which will have 0, 1, 2, or 3 on them. So at most you can roll 6. Plus, you add that number of music notes to the value of the worker that you placed here to figure out sort of which level of these you succeed at. In the first one, you're just getting money. The second and third, you're also getting money plus points, plus the ability to place out a performer in one of these chairs at the orchestra, or one of these instrument locations in the orchestra. And again, these dice are what you're rolling at the start of the game, but as you level up here, you're going to get different abilities. So here lets me re-roll one of those dice once. This one means that instead of using one of these white dice, I'm going to replace it with this black die, which now has 1, 2, 3, and 4 numbers on there and no 0 side. So we're basically leveling up 1 die. And you'll see if you get all the way up here, you'll get a second of those replacing your second white die. This one is going to get you a specialty worker that turns one of your workers into something special for this location. This gets you a second reroll. This gets you the second black die. But again, also, In addition to placing out your token here, gaining points and gaining money, if this performance is of a type that your patron is looking for example here, this card Vivaldi is looking for potentially a performance in his style, which this is, it would turn over and get slotted underneath that card on your player board. And then when you had finished both of those things, then maybe building a horn for him or a wind instrument for him, that would trigger his finish. So some of these are going to require extra things for them to be finished. And in this case, this is either a performance or repairing a wind instrument. And I'll talk about repairing right now. Repairing happens over here in this action. And again, you're going to be able to choose from these, paying the cost here or looking through here for a specific type. I should have said that for the performances as well. You have to pay 4 for this or 10 to find a specific type. And for the repair action, you don't just get to take the card. You have to pay whatever resources are shown here on the left. And when you do that, you're going to score 2 points as well as place out a repair token into one of the spaces on the orchestra pit. In addition, remembering I said that if you repair an instrument matching what they're looking for example, in this case, Sviten, this is a stringed instrument, and they would like you to repair potentially 2 stringed instruments, that would flip over and go under them on your player board to mark that you had done one of those 2 things. It's worth mentioning, though, you can do performances and you can repair instruments, even if you don't have a patron that matches them, simply to get the extra points and to place out tokens in this orchestra, because this is going to be a very important piece of the game, but I'm going to explain that after I explain the remaining actions. But before I do that, I should point out that if you play a 4 or higher in this location, you go up on this track, and also instead of taking a repair, you could instead choose to take 2 wood resources. So on this track, this first space is going to allow you to rough 2 instruments by taking a single roughing action. This one is going to increase the strength of any worker you place at the roughing or finishing action by 1. This one here is going to give you a bonus worker or a specialty worker in the repair sort of area. This one lets you finish 2 instruments for 1 finishing action. And this one gives you an additional +1 for finishing or roughing workers when selecting that action. It's also worth mentioning on both of these tracks, if you ever go up again, you're simply going to score 2 points and stay in that location. Coming to the 4th of the sort of main actions, the guild, it works very much like the patrons. You are just going to take an instrument, paying if you need to, searching through here for a specific icon if you pay those things, and that's going to go into your hand, because remember, they don't get to go into a roughing slot until the start of a round. Unless, if you place a 4 or higher here, in addition to gaining a resource of your choice, you can immediately place that card or another card that you have in your hand into that roughing area. And that's important because there are only 2 slots there. So if you ever have more than two instruments, you may already have stuff in your hands that hasn't been placed out at the board because there's no space for it. It's also worth pointing out, instead of taking an instrument card here, you can instead get 1 metal resource. Then finally up here, this location is going to allow you to choose either to place one of your objective markers on one of these 3 public objectives, to get 6 lira, or to take 2 apprentices. In addition, if you place a 4 or higher here, you will increase on this track. I should point out, I mentioned before, when you complete a patron, you will also be moving up on this track. This track giving you 1 apprentice. This one lets you draw 3 cards from the instrument deck, keeping 1 of them. This one will let you take any of these level 2 cards without paying the extra amount. Here you get another specialty worker that is associated with the balcony action. Here you score an additional 2 points every time you complete an instrument from that point on. Here you get access to the level 3 cards without paying extra. And then finally here you get to place out 1 additional objective marker if there's still a space available to you. So those are the main actions. I do want to come back to the apprentices because I mentioned them quickly and I've now talked about them. The apprentice is going to be played with a worker. So for example, I could play my 3 worker with an apprentice, making that worker a 4 and placing it out. And what that means is then for any of these that need a 4 to trigger, that will happen. But the other thing that's going to be important, and you'll see how that works in just a second, if more than one of us plays at a location, which is very much okay to do, the order that that action triggers in is going to be determined by the number of workers. So if you have a high valued worker, you will take that action before the person who has lower valued workers. And that's going to be important because you might have something you really want to get from that area and somebody else might take it. And these things also don't refill until the end of a round. So two more things to talk about on this main board before we jump back over, and that is this orchestra pit and these public objectives. I want to point out the public objectives, there are 3 of them. This one says, I would like to have as many different types of patrons. You see that here in the top right corner. Not the eras that they're focused on or the types of music that they're focused on, but these types of patrons. And looking at our cheat sheet, those are performer patrons, composer patrons, noble patrons, and royal patrons. So in order to score that, I need to take this action to trigger that. And if I had 1, I would score 1 point, 3, I would score 7, but I can only do that once per objective. This one here is going to be counting how many music performances I have placed out here, meaning these round tokens. If I have 2, I can score 1. If I have 3, I can score 3 points. And over here, this is looking for different types of instruments repaired. It means percussion and keyboards, wind instruments, or stringed instruments. 2 will get me 2 points, 3 will get me 6 points. I should also mention here, I forgot to, the other reason I'm taking this is the strength order of the tokens here will later determine the turn order in future round. The other thing we really need to talk about is this orchestra. You will see that the first person that places either an instrument, a repair token, or a performance token in that location will become first chair. And if you do that, you will get whatever it shows here. But also at the end of the game, we will be scoring points based on the number of first chairs we have. And if you're a first chair with an instrument, then you've locked in that spot and you will always be first chair at that location. But if you're a first chair with one of these tokens, you're only the first chair so long as you were the first person to play there or you have the most tokens there. So if somebody places 2 of their tokens here, they will take over that first chair. It's also worth mentioning that if you're not first chair, you will get either 1 inspiration or 2 coins by placing there, but you will not score anything at the end of the game for having that thing on the board, except for any objectives that you've triggered because of that. There are also some instruments that have a little diamond symbol on them that are rare instruments. Those you can place as many first chairs because there is only 1 of each of those instruments in these spots up here at the top of the board. Now I know that's a lot to think about, but I'm going to go ahead and take my first turn and hopefully sort of talk through the ways that I'm playing, and all of the stuff that I've just talked about will hopefully become easier to understand as I play through, because realistically it's not that difficult. There's just lots of little things to think about. So coming back to my main board, the last thing I want to remind myself before I start taking actions is that I want to have instruments placed in wind spaces, up to 3 of them to score 6 points at the end of the game. And I also want to repair percussion instruments if possible, again, up to 3 of them by the end of the game. And right now, looking at the main board myself, I do see there is a percussion instrument that I could repair pretty easily. I do have a horn right here that I could work on building, and I have 4 of these to put out. Also, performances of hearts. There aren't any right now unless I want to spend 10 money or inspiration to get there, which right now I don't want to do. I should also point out, if I ever want to buy or sell resources, I can come here once per round to sell or buy these resources for the prices set here, and they will change. This will become 1 to 3. This is between 2 and 4, and this is between 4 and 6. So I can sort of buy and sell to make money along the way if I want to. I can also here spend 4 to take an apprentice. I can pay for any money instead with inspiration. And if I want to spend 15 money, I can go up on either of those 2 tracks, but I can never do that to score the 2 points at the top of that track. So now we're going to take turns placing out our workers, and I want to make sure that I repair the piano. He's not looking to do that himself, so I don't really have to worry about it, but just to be safe, I should put a high number there. I would also not mind grabbing another patron if there's somebody who matches, but right now it's not really looking like something I need to do. But I have 4 actions. I do want to repair. If I can get another wood and another metal, which would cost me 8 if I wanted to pay for it, I could do that. And I've got 4 actions. So potentially, I could do these 2 things. I could put on the balcony to get money to get resources to do that. And I can repair. Yeah. All right, so my first action is on the main board. I'm going to put my 5 because I know they only have a 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to put my 5 in the balcony to hopefully maintain that first place. It also means that I get my money, and it also means I'm going to be able to move up on this track, which is great. Now, on the AI's turn, they're simply going to turn over their card. And it'll tell them where to place this first worker, which is the repair track. And I should mention that the AI's strength is going to be whatever that token ends up being plus whatever their level is on the track. So I know their highest token is a 3. This is a 0, so that at max is a 3. So if I go over back to the main board and I play my 3 with my apprentice, that's a 4, means I know for sure that I'm doing better than they are. They take their second action, which is going to be placing out on the instrument track or the guild track. My turn, I have a 1 or a 2, and realistically it's not going to matter because none of these are going to trigger special things with either of those, so let's just put a 2 there. They do their last placement because they only have 3 still, and that's going into their workshop right here. I place my last one here like that, and that is the end of that phase, the planning phase. Now we're going to the resolution phase. And the resolution phase, we're going to take turns activating an action. And then whoever has placed at that action will take that action in the order of highest to lowest value of worker at that action. In addition, the AI will never do this, but I can choose to, on my turn, instead of triggering an action, come here to the market. Once per turn, this will move there, and I will take whatever my market action is, buying and selling as much as I want to do. All right, then, moving into our first resolution phase. Again, I'm going to use this to mark whose turn it is, and I'll show you what it's really used for in the game, but in the solo mode, I don't really need it. But I'm going first, because I am first player on the turn track. So I have to choose one of the locations that I've placed a worker in to activate. And I think I'm going to start at the repair section, because I don't have any real hurry for the other 3 spots. So let's go there. But wait, yes I do, because I have to pay attention to what I'm spending, and I don't have the stuff that I need to spend there yet. So, now I'm scared. Hold on. Before I do all of that, though, I do know the order that the AI is going to be activating in, because it will be based on this track. So, they are going to put these in order of the sort of values here, and if they have the same value from top to bottom. So looking at, this is a 0, this is a 1, so this will come first. And the workbench will always be their last action. So I know right now that if I don't repair, they're going to do this. And then I get an action, and then they will repair, even if I haven't done it yet. So that's great news, because that means I'm going to first come here, turning this over, which is a 5. This will go here. If there were more than 1, we would use these numbers to determine which order, and that would change the turn order in a future round, or in the next round. Then I get to choose one of these things. Clearly, I'm not ready to trigger an objective. I could take 2 apprentices, but I really want the money so I can buy some resources right now. So I'm going to take 6 coins. And then, because this is a 4 or higher, I will move over 1, which means I do get an apprentice as well. So I add an apprentice to my hand for next turn, or if I want to spend to take one of those 10 plus card spots. And that is the end of that. This will stay here to mark turn order, but otherwise they would just come back off the board. All right, so looking at the AI, they're going to activate instruments first. So that means they're going to turn over this. And the way the AI looks is, first, they're going to look for instruments that will fulfill something that a patron wants. Right now, the patron they have already has an instrument. So they will then look at this priority list, which shows that they want wind, then percussion, then keys. strings. So looking at the board, everything on the board are strings. So in that case, they will simply take the leftmost, which is this violin. And because they don't have a patron that needs that right now, they're simply going to stick that right there off to the side, and I'll pull that in as they need it. Actually, I might as well just stick it here since there's nothing associated with it. That is a thing, so if they get a patron, this will later associate with that patron, assuming they can get one that matches that instrument. And then their token will come off of the board and get placed onto that card because it will potentially level up that card at the end of the round. All right, next is my turn. And I don't have the resources I need. I need 2 animal and 1 wood in order to do that repair action that I'm aiming for. So I'm going to take a market action. And I need 2 animal, 1 wood, plus 1 wood, plus 1 wood. So I want to have 3 wood. So I need to buy 2 wood. No. Yeah, I need to buy, 2 wood, 1 animal, and 1 metal, if possible. Huh? 2 wood is 6, 7, 8, and 5 is 13. I don't think I have that. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm 1 short. But let me see. Is there something I can do to make that work out? Unfortunately not. Unfortunately, I made a mistake. I should have paid more attention because if I had put a 3 or a 4 in one of these locations, then I could have, a 5 here or a 4 here, I could have used 1 less resource. We are going to have a problem. But let's do the best we can do because I absolutely have to. Ooh, you know what though? Based on placing out the thing we need to place out for, all right, let's come back to the main board. When I do this repair action, I will be placing a repair for a percussion, means here, here, or here. If I place it here, I can get a wood, so I don't need to buy a wood. All right, so I only need to buy 1 wood, 1 animal, and 1 metal. Means 5 and 5 is 10. And these inspiration are more useful than money because I can use them also to boost my value on a performance later. So I'm going to spend 5, and 5 is 10, taking 1 of each resource. And I should mention here that my resources can only hold 9 resources. But when I start building objectives, I'm going to place out 1 of these on the objective. And this one here is going to allow me to hold an additional 3 resources, plus get a free resource at the start of every round. So right now I got a 9 cap. And I did take that, some of this goes here, so I can't take that action again this turn, or this round, which means I haven't been passing this and I haven't explained this yet, but I haven't needed to explain it yet. It is the AI's turn. They are taking the repair action. So coming back to the main board, now we're going to flip over. I've got a 3 plus 1 is 4. They have a 2. Now just to show you in the multiplayer game when there are lots of people going, you would be then placing them on here like this and rearranging them so they're in order. If there's ever a tie, whoever placed first is the higher of the 2, but I don't really need this board in solo, so I will just use that as a track of whose turn it is. With my 4 is higher than a 2, I take this action first, and I will absolutely be working on this. Which means, coming back to my board for a second, I need to spend 2 animal and 1 wood, which I can easily do. Which means I repair this, which I'm going to place 1 of my repair tokens on the board. And I'm going to score 2 points. So first I score 2 points. And then I have to place this out in a percussion. Percussion means this top row. And I'm going to put it there because that means I get first chair in that location for now. Getting me 1 wood, 1 inspiration, and 1 coin. So I'll take my wood, my inspiration, and my coin like that, which now I do have enough resources to finish this instrument, yay. And this flips over, and a repaired piano or percussion does match what he's looking for down here. So that's going to get tucked there. This slides all the way to the left to reset that character. That was me I did use a 3 plus 1 is 4, so I will go up here. Means that anytime I'm roughing now, I can rough 2 instruments in a single action. These go away. The 3 goes back into my supply with that apprentice I took before. The apprentice I just used goes back into the market. Now, AI takes this turn. And what they're going to do is they're going to look for an instrument that they can repair that matches an instrument on their person, which right now does match because they are looking for repairs of strings. However, at this point in the game, with a level 1 repair action, the AI can only repair an instrument if it is a 2-point repair. And the one on the board right now is a 4-point repair, which it cannot do. And also at level 1, it can only interact with things that are already on the board. When you get to level 2 and level 3, the AI will be able to search through the deck to find the things they need. Right now they cannot. So the AI is simply going to do nothing with this action. Placing that 2 on its board. It's my turn. And I'm done on the board, so I'm working here. This one activates. I'm going to spend 1 wood and 1 metal to move this into my finishing area, like that. This comes back. AI takes their last turn, which is also a workbench. And what that means is for the AI, they automatically finish the leftmost instrument that's associated with a patron. So this is going to automatically score, which means they're going to get 8 points. They're going to place an instrument at harpsichord in the orchestra, and then this is going to attach to this patron. Again, that's 8 points and harpsichord. Going back to the main board, AI goes straight to 8 points, and they place out their instrument on the harpsichord, which is, luckily for me, already taken by our dummy player, so they don't get first chair. They simply put their instrument there. And then for my final turn, because I do have that extra worker from my family's ability, I'm going to finish this for 1 wood and 1 metal, which means I'm now scoring 4 points and placing at the transverse flute. And this is also attaching to this patron. So all I need to do now is repair a wind instrument or perform in their style. Romantic. This comes off. Sorry, I forgot the point value was 4 plus transverse flute. So back here I get 1, 2, 3, 4 points, and this goes out at transverse flute, which luckily is open. So I get a wood and an inspiration. 1 wood and 1 inspiration. Looking good for me. And that's the end of the round. So we go into the sort of end of round cleanup. But before that happens, at the end of the resolution phase, the AI has one more sort of step that it needs to do. First, it's going to look at the bottom of each of these cards and do everything that it says there. We're going to focus on these dark gray sections first. That's going to move the cubes in this area back this way 2 spaces. Then after we've done all of those, we're going to look at these and move some things forward. And then we're going to upgrade based on what it shows here. So for this instrument, it says move the instruments back 2. Here it says move the tools back 2. Can't. That's all we've got for back. Then forward, this moves forward 1. This moves forward 1. This moves forward 1. Then it says if this, sorry, this should have come here. If this is a 2 or higher level up, it's not, so that's just going to go away. If this is a 2 or higher level up, it is. So its repair is going to go to a level 2 repair. So switching that out for that one. And same thing here, because that's a 2 or higher, its workshop action is also going to level up to a level 2. Then we're going to shuffle all of these back together and mix these up one more time. Although realistically, I should wait till the start of the round. It won't matter right now because I'm not adding anything to them. But again, between the second and third round, they will get 1 extra chip. So there's that. This violin is still not attached to anybody. That's that for them. The market is going to rotate to the next market card. So you'll see now that animal and wood got cheaper, but the metal is staying the same. This comes back over here. Back on the main board, anything that's still in a level 1 spot, like this, will be discarded. This will be discarded. Then all of the cards slide over, filling in the empty spots. This should come back to me. The turn order has already been adjusted. We move to round 2, and I am first. So again, start of round bonuses, I don't have any. This is going to slide over, getting me 4 coins. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I had any instruments, I could put them into my roughing area. I don't. So now we're planning again. And I'm still first, so I get to plan first. And thinking about what I need to do is I need to get a bunch of stuff this time. I could repair a horn, or I could perform there. Looking at the bonuses that I can do, repairing a horn is not a bad idea because we've got this possibility of repairing 3 different types of instruments. Performing is also not a bad idea, but this is going to score me more points. And I've already done 1, so 2 is not going to be hard. So I could do this horn. Realistically, I could also do this guitar, because that I don't have to pay for. This one I would have to pay for. Which means, can I find a person who wants a guitar? I can. So if I do that and that, means I do want to find percussion, but it doesn't have to happen right away. They also like blue performances, which come from there. So that and that and that is not a bad idea, but I need a lot of resources for this. 2 white and 2 wood. But white and wood are cheap right now. 2 white is 1 each, so that's 2. And 2 wood is 2 each, so that's 4. So I only have to have 6. And I could already afford that if I want to. Yeah, all right. Then let's go ahead and guarantee. But anyway, if he takes a patron, he wants one that uses this instrument. There aren't any there. They all want winds or percussion. So he's going to look here, and he's going to find the first thing he wants is the pink or the romantic, which coming over here is this one. So he's not even going to take that guy, so I don't have to worry about that being hard. There's nothing here that I'm desperate for because none of those match him, which is what I want. This one I'm a little bit worried about because this guy does like a repair of that. And if he does that first and then that, I'm in trouble. Although I could pay attention to the order of things, it's likely that doesn't happen. But that's a possible. This as well, he needs a performance right now in pink, which is that one, so he's not going to take that anyway. So I like this a lot. I'd like to push this up though, potentially. So I'm going to put my big stuff here. Means here, 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 and I get one more something. I'm not doing this turn, so probably here is where I'm coming. Unless I want to do 2 of something, I could perform twice potentially. I don't think so. Here, 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 and let's go here just to get some money potentially. Moving up here is not a bad idea though, and if I draw from there, I might get lucky with that. So I'm actually gonna put a 3 + 1 there because I know the highest he's got is a 3. All of his tracks are at 1, so the best he can do is 4, and that's a 4. So I'm going first. I will take that. AI's turn, they turn over their top card, and they're playing in instruments, which I don't care at all about. In that case, then I'm going to put this 5 here, because pushing that up is a good idea, although pushing this up is also great, but I want to make sure I get that card. AI turns over their next card. Is the workbench? Wow, they're not competing at all with me this turn. Could be nice. All right, then I've got a 1 and a 2. I don't really care which one's which. I will put the 2 here. AI turns over. They're repairing. And then finally, I will put my 1 up here like that. And the AI has no more pieces to place out. So they're not competing with anything but repair. And now organizing these, they're all at 1. So we're going faces, no music, no repair is their first action, which is scary. It means I have to get resources before they trigger that. Then this, that's correct. So I'm going first, means I must buy what I need. I don't need anything for instruments right now. I have 1 wood. I need 3 wood and 2 white. So I need 2 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I will spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 1 inspiration to take 2 white. Thankfully, they were very cheap this round. And 2 wood, I got lucky with that. That means that's my turn, their turn is next, and they are activating this one. And now because it has leveled up, they can do 2 points or 3 points, and they will look through the deck if they can't find the thing they need. And right now they are looking to repair a guitar or a stringed instrument if possible. But if we come over here and I turn these over, that's a 5 and a 2. So I'm going first. So I'm going to beat them so I can get this, because that's what I need to. Huh? No, it's not. No, it's not, and I just messed everything up. I needed this. I needed this, and I needed 4 of that. Undo what I just did. Sorry, I'm rushing. I need that. I need that. This was for this guy, and it didn't happen yet. I wasn't paying attention, and now the order of things messed it up. But I can't undo what I was doing, and I can't do that. Because I only have 3 of those guys. Grr. All right, well, I'm going to snipe that so he can't. He won't anyway. That's a 4-pointer. But that's fine. 4 points is nice for me. And repairing different things is also nice for me. So that's fine. Okay, so I spend 3 wood and 2 animal to take this. Scoring 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I get to place out one of my repair tokens in a string. Which means anywhere. If I place here, these 3 automatically get me a thing. If I place here or here, I could potentially get those if I place another one, but that's silly. So I should take one of these. These are dual color, so I'm going to stick with this one. And I'm going to take 4 points. Oh, sorry, 4 money. 2, 3, 4. And because I placed a 5, this goes up 1 more time. Means anytime I rough or finish, I add +1 to my worker at that spot. That comes back. Now, the AI is looking for a guitar, and they can score up to 3 points. This is not a guitar, so they're going to look through this until they find a guitar. No, yes. Now, if this is 2 or 3, they will score it. If it's a 4, that's too bad, and they don't score anything. And it is a 3. So the AI is going to automatically do this. Moving up 3, 1, 2, 3. Then they're going to place out one of their pieces in the area of guitars. They will always aim to place in a spot where they can get a chair first. Then they'll try and steal a chair. And anything else is going to be based on their priorities. So their priority here is pink first. So they're going to play in this violin spot. They don't get any of the stuff there. They're simply stealing the first chair from me. And I just realized I never got rid of my card. This goes here because I don't have anybody to do anything with. But this one will go over to the AI. And they are going to tuck this card. They still need 1 more repaired guitar or performance for this patron to finish. So that's that. They take their 2 and place it there. Now my turn. And that was sad because I didn't have him. So I want to make sure I have him before I do that. So this one is next. I take him, and I can slot him in either there or there to get a resource or 4 money. Yeah, 4 money is better because I can always buy something with that money if I need to. And aside from metal, everything is 4 or lower anyway, so 4 money is good. And that one comes back to me. AI's next is music or instruments. Flipping this. Now, they've already got an instrument for their patron. They still don't have a second patron. So they are looking to get a wind instrument. So they're going to take this oboe. And they don't have anybody to attach it to, so they're just going to hold on to it. That goes to their card. My turn. I am doing my last. No, I have these 2, but I'm going to do this one first. Lets me perform. So I'm performing there. I've only got a 2. But I get to roll those 2 dice, and I still have 3 inspiration that I can add to it. And in order for me to put something out, I only need a 5 to an 8. So let's see what happens here. I rolled a 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to hit 5 to get anything. So I am going to spend 1 inspiration. And that means that I do successfully perform. I get 2 money, and I get to put out 1 performance token on a blue area. It means this triangle. So I am going to put here getting a wood and a coin. And that also then means that this blue performance does work for this guy. It will get tucked in there like that. And that is done. Now AI has no more turns. That's not true. They have 1 more turn and then I get a last turn. They are doing a workbench action. When they do this, they are going to build one of their instruments. It says the top instrument, but it says that these are meant to be placed to the right of the board. It doesn't say anything more than that. So I'm guessing I'm supposed to sort of make a line of them, a column of them. So this would be the top instrument, the older instrument. So they're going to score 2 points and place an instrument on violin. Sorry, that's a 3. Scoring 2 points, 1, 2. Placing on a violin. Here they already have, there are 2 violins. Here they already have the first chair. So they are going to bump me with that chair to take that, like that. And they don't have anybody that this associates with, so this just will get discarded. And then that card, that goes onto their card like that. My turn is this last action, which is a 4. Whoops, that got bumped. And for that, let's see what we can do. Do I want to start playing things out? As far as fixing goes, I've only got 2. And I'm not worried about them sniping that 3, so I don't want to score that yet. Performances, I only have 1. So I'm not too worried about that yet. This, I have nothing yet, so I really would rather not do that. So I don't want to do that. I think I'm going to take 2 apprentices. Because having the 2 extra apprentices next round will be very powerful. Then that apprentice is going to go away. This one goes here. This slides over, and now I get to draw 3 cards and keep 1 of them from the instruments. So 1, 2, 3, and coming back to my main board, I see that this Sveeten guy needs a stringed instrument. I do have this hurdy-gurdy. It is a rare instrument worth lots of points. That's great. I will take that card. These 2 then go to the bottom of the instrument deck. That is the end of round 2. So upgrading the AI's stuff. Hammer moves to the left twice. Instruments, that's it. Moving forward, instrument goes forward 1. Hammer goes forward 1. And then both the patrons and instruments move up 1 more. This 2 does nothing. So that is that. I needed a 3 or more. This is not a 2 or more, so that also does nothing. This 3 does upgrade their workbench into a level 3 workbench. So playing this one, and you'll see now here, anytime they take this action, they will be moving up once on their objective scoring track. So giving that a good shuffle. I'll hold off on this for a minute because they are going to get an extra token. This rotates to the next round. So everything just got 1 more expensive. Yuck. Back to the main board. All of the 1s go away. That's it. These all slide down. Like that. This slides down like that, which is great because I kind of want that for my guy, potentially. This slides down, which could also help my guy. And actually that would be my 3rd repair and would get me lots of points. So I may actually focus that. These fill in like that. Whoops. And this comes back to me. Turn order doesn't change because they didn't play. This slides over here, so they get their 4-piece now, which means now they can take their guys and shuffle them up for the start of round 3. All right, so starting back up with round 3, starting with fires. I still don't have any, unfortunately. I'm hoping to get this guy down this turn. Let's see what happens. Advancing here gets me 5 lira. Here gets me 2, so I've got 7. 5, 6, 7, and I need to finish him or find a way to push that back or he's going to run away this turn. But that shouldn't be a problem because I've already built the instrument. And I am going to slot this hurdy-gurdy in here. Because if I can get this built... no. What? Wait a minute. I took the wrong instrument. He needed a percussion, not a guitar. Let me look at those bottom 2 cards again and see if I should have taken something else. Yeah, I should have taken this timpani instead. So I'm going to do that right now, which is a little bit sad because it's not rare anymore. But timpani, I've already got the first chair, but I could clinch the first chair with that. And yes, that will work for him. It's also easier to build. So I need 1 more wood and 2 more metal to get it to here. But, so I definitely want to focus on that. I want to either perform pink or repair a horn for him. No, yes, because you've already repaired percussion. Repairing a horn is easy, so I definitely want to get that done. And repairing horns will also work towards that goal of repairing 3 different types of instruments, because I've already done 2. Yes, which means I need a whole lot of wood to get that done. But I got lots of money to spend. I'd also probably like to perform a blue would be nice for him. But that means I have to spend 4 or boost this again. But boosting this is possible. Oh yeah, if I finish him with the repair, this will go up to 2. Then I can do that for free. So I want this and this and this. And the 4th one is probably this, with less resources if possible. That means I got to put a 5 here. I do have 2 of these this time though. But what do I want to focus on boosting over here? I'd like to boost this, because then I get a special worker. All right, so I'm going first, and I'm going to put a 5 here. AI takes their turn. Working at the workshop. Then I'm going to save my... no, that was a mistake. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do a 3 and a 1 goes there. Wait a minute. No, that's fine. I got a +1 already over there. So that 5 is fine. I'll leave that alone. That means I'm going to save, like I was saying, the 3 and a 1 for my workbench, which means I've got a 1 and a 2, and I've got 1 apprentice. Looking at him, if he's performing pink, so he's not competing with me anyway. You know what? I'm going to save the apprentice. I don't need it this round for anything. This comes here. No, let's put the lower number there in case he comes there and I could potentially fight with him. They placed their second one out. Yep, they're going to a balcony. Which means, so am I, and I am actually going to use that apprentice. So that's a 2 + 1 is a 3, which is not great, but it gives me a little bit more chance that I beat them so I don't lose the turn order. Yeah, we'll see. I'm worried that they're going to activate that balcony soon, but we'll see what happens. Their next placement is repair. Competing with me, potentially. I did put a 5 there, so I should be safe. Because I do want the more expensive one, so I don't have to pay for that. Then I place out my last one, which is the 3 + 1 on my roughing area. They place out their 4th one on instruments. And now we go ahead and trigger. Now, the problem is, before this happens, I need wood. I would like to buy, let me see something. Probably going to get wood from here. I need at least 1 metal, maybe 2. And I need 2 wood right now. Wood is 3 each, so that's 6. It's 12. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Hold on a minute. I do not want to spend those because I want them to help with my performance. I put a 1 there. That was really stupid. Because I don't get a reroll or nothing. That was really bad. Okay. Well, it is what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoops, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 5 is 12. And 4, 2 and 2 gets me more of those 2. Yeah, that was stupid. Why did I not put more stuff? Why did I put my 1 at the performance? Oh well. That's 5 and 7 is 12. That's 3, 3, 6. So one of those
2 wood, and then 4 more gets me 2 whites, which fits fine. Yeah, I got a problem. Oh no, because I'm going to repair fine. He's going to be fine. My concern is that I don't have the ability to perform very well. Well, let's see what happens. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I should have ordered these. Level 2 is this one. These are both level 1, but hammer comes before the balcony. Yes, so he's going to do music next, which is fine. Again, he doesn't have any patrons. He's not playing his patron card at all, which is a little bit silly. But he is then aiming for wind, which is that bassoon. That goes away. Then I will trigger repair. So I've got a 5. He's got a 2 plus 1 is 3, so I am going first. I want that one for 3 wood. Spending my wood, which means I get 3 points. 1, 2, 3 to tie. I place out one of these in my horn section, which is going to get me wood and 2 coins. Yes. Wood and 2 money. 1, 2. Good. And then that flips over and finishes him. Because we've got repaired thing, and an instrument. He's done 8 points and moving on that track. So let me go ahead and do that. 8 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 21. This moves up 1, so now I don't need to spend anything to activate that, which is fine because I don't need that money anymore that I had. These all get discarded. He flips over and gets tucked in. So now every round I will be getting an apprentice if there's one available. That was me. The AI takes their repair. And they're looking to repair a guitar for the person they have now. Their level is 2 or 3 and they are searching. So they're looking through here for a guitar, which is this top one right here. And is, unfortunately for them, a 4-pointer, and they can't do any 4-pointers, so that is their turn. Sorry. That 2 goes on their thing. My turn. I'm in trouble. Because I need to find a way to perform here. And I need a 7. And this is a 1. And I've got 2 things, so that's 2, 3. Means I need to roll at least 4 on these dice, which I got a 50-50 chance on each one of getting a 2. So that's not unheard of, but if I don't, then it doesn't count as a performance for my guy. And there's no way for me to get any more of those things. So yeah, here goes nothing. Wait, hold on, that was my turn to repair action. They're going first, sorry. That's why I need to pay attention to passing this. They are balconying first, which is perfectly okay with me. I've got a 3, they've got a 3, plus 1. So they're going first, and this is why I should have put that there. It's going to come back to bite me. But anyway, they're first, then me. Now, because this needs to go onto their board to remember for upgrades, they're going to swap that out right there. In any case, when they come here, on a level 1 card, which is what they have right now, looking at this level 1 card, they do absolutely nothing. This is only getting them turn order potential. When that levels up, they will potentially place out on one of these objectives, but right now that's it. That's all they do, so this goes back to their card. And with my ability, I am going to score that for 6 points because I do have now 3 repairs and 3 different instruments. But coming back to my board, I have a choice. I can take one of those royal patrons. I can get a purple die to roll when I do my thing, and I'll show you what that purple die is. It gives you potentially points, apprentices, or resources, or money, in addition to whatever happens during that performance. I think I like that. The other possibility is an extra 3 space for more resources and 1 free resource every round, but I'm going to take this one. And again, I am placing it here because I do have 3 of those scoring 6 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that means I add this purple die to any time I do this. That stays there for turn order purposes. This goes back to the market. Now it is my turn. And I just realized I'm saved coming back here because I am going to trigger this one first. Because this is a 3, 4, and +1 because of my ability from that fixing track. Also, I have to come back to the fixing track because I forgot to do this, and I'll do that later. But I'm here. I need to, with a 5, spend 1 last resource, but also, wait a minute, I never took my resource. Did I? Now we've got a problem. I only have 1 wood and 1 metal, and I need 2 wood and 2 metal to do this. I was hoping to do this because with the 3 I would get 2 more of these, which would make my chances better at the performance. But I need the performance to happen to get a resource here. Otherwise I'm in trouble. Well, yeah, let's see what happens. Crossing fingers. Oh my goodness, this is nerve-wracking. All right, then forget it. We're doing this, which is just a 1. And I don't get any rerolls. Yeah, this is scary. I could make that a 3, so I need 4. And rolling. I didn't get it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I hadn't used that apprentice here, and I had done there, which would have been the smart thing to do. Heck, even switching that completely would have been the smart thing to do. But now I've completely wasted everything. But yeah, that was a big mistake. And I can't retcon it now because I could have done this because that's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that stinks. I failed. I got a 5. Well, right now I got a 1, 2, 3, 4, which does get this, does get me 4 money, but that goes away. I don't get to put anything here. It means I don't have any resources for the next thing. What was I thinking? Why did I do that? Because even if I put that blue here, there's no resources to build my thing. Whatever. I didn't get anything, but I do get 2 points from that purple die, so yay-ish. Yeah, that was horrible. Well, at least I get 4 money out of that. That was a big mistake. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4. Horrible. Yeah, that was terrible. All right, well, AI takes their turn then, which was the workbench, which is a 1. They are going to finish the oboe, which is their older of the 2, 5 points, and placing an instrument at the oboe. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the oboe already has 1 there. So haha, they have nobody to attach that to, so it comes here. Now I do have to come back here because I forgot to do that. This goes up like that, and I get to take a specialty worker, which say, this one says when I use this worker on the finishing location, I get to add a point for each instrument finished. This says when repairing, I reduce the requirement of resources by 1. Interesting. And this one says when used on finish, I can give a finished instrument to a patron to satisfy any of their requirements. Wow, that's amazing. But I think the extra points is nice. It's early enough that I'm going to get a lot of stuff, and I'll show you how that works in just a second, because it is the end of the round, but this comes back with me over here to my board. And I'm kind of out of space, so I'm going to put it up here. And then it's my turn to activate this. Unfortunately, that is just a 4, which would, sorry, a 5, because a 4 plus 1 from that track. The problem is, I don't have enough resources to get that. This was stupid. I spent 4 to get that. I could have spent 3 to get 1 more wood, which means I would have been able to do that right now. But somehow in my brain, I had an extra wood that was just magically happening. And I don't know where I was thinking that was coming from, because I bought 2 wood to have 3 to spend on the thing to get 1. I don't know where I thought this magical second wood was coming from. That hurts. But I'm not going to retcon things. If you can't do that action, you do get 2 money. And I'm going to assume, and I don't know if this is true, because this is greater than 3, I still get my 2 inspiration. If that's not true, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say I do. That goes back there. That's the end of the round. I really hope I didn't kill myself with all of that stuff, but upgrading here, music goes back 2, sorry, instruments go back 2, repair goes back 2, nothing else. Then hammer goes forward, instrument goes forward, both balcony and performance go forward, and then patron and instrument goes forward. He's really messed himself up never playing that patron. Sorry, this should go there. 4 is greater than 2. So this will level up to a level 2 instrument, which now lets them search for things if they need to find it. 2 is not 3 or greater, nothing happens. 3 is 2 or greater, so they're going to level 2 balcony now, which means they will now start scoring those public objectives. Level 2. And 1 is certainly not a 4 or higher, so that's that. These get shuffled. Market advances. What's happening? Ooh, metal got cheaper. That's cool, because I definitely need one. This goes back. This goes there. That's it for over here, back at the main board. That's not quite true. I have to assign one of my workers to that ability. Because what that means is, when I use the worker of that value, I'm going to place this to remember that it's that ability. But before I do that, I need to get my 2 back. So let's finish the board first. 1s go away. Whoops, that should not have ever been there. So that should not have ever been there. So that should go away. Those slide down, fill in, fill in, fill in. Of course, there's no blue this time. Slide down, fill in, fill in. Ooh, there's a rare string, I like it. Slide down, fill in. Lots of horns to repair. Turn order reverses now, because he had the higher value there. So that goes there, I get my 2 back. While we're here, I'm going to advance to level 4, and you see here this no A. That means all of the level A patrons are gone. We're actually, instead of doing what I just did, now filling in with the B patrons, like that. And you'll notice that the B patrons, their special thing when I activate them or when I complete them will be some kind of endgame scoring. So I should pay attention to that as well. We will start round 4 in just a minute, but now I have to assign one of my valued tokens to this perfectionist. So I got to think about what I'm using on the bench location. And I think, because I am going to get an apprentice from that guy, I'm going to use the 3. Like that. Yeah, sure. I'm worried because I don't see anything that's going to help him. I got to get this there and to him this turn. Must. Must. Or he's going to run away. All right, so that's that. So this is now officially a 3 when I use it. And now it is the start of the round. I get from this fire 1 apprentice. This slides over for 3 money, and that's going to be his end if I don't fix it, which means either taking a patron and pushing it back, or it means completing this and driving it all the way back. I don't have any instruments to put in there for roughing. These get mixed up. And he's going to go first this time because they switched that turn order track on me this time. All right. So he's going first this time. Flipping over the first card is a performance. Now, what am I doing this? I have to do these 2 for sure. A new patron might not be a bad idea. I want more horns. I want more performances, but not one that I like. Yeah, a new patron might not be a bad idea. And I can take either of these 2. And I want horns. So this guy's going to be the one. Yeah, so I got to get that. I don't care about pushing back, so I don't need a big number there. There, and I've got 1 more, which has to be here. Not to score, just to get stuff and push this up to get some more stuff, I think. Or do I just want to perform to perform? Because performances here is good. Maybe? Maybe? Do I need a new instrument? No, because none of those are going to work with him until that happens. And he's pink, so none of these work except this, and I'm not spending 10 in an apprentice to get there. Yeah, I got to work on getting stuff. What does he need? If I put a 5 there and a 3 there, that's a +1 automatic. So I could do this for 1 less. I could do this for 1 less. I've already got those. So I need 1 more wood, 2 more wood, which is not that bad. That's just $6 to do both of those things. And if I do that, I get a double thing. Is there a timpani thing? I think I own it already, yes, but I'd still get double. That's cool. All right, so let's do big stuff here. So that's my 3 and my 5. Means I've got a 2 and a 1, or a 3 and a 2. Let's put the 3, yeah, forget it. Let's perform just to perform. I think. If he takes a patron, what's he going to take? He'll take that pink. Yeah, let me do that with 3 then. He takes his turn, which is portraits. Finally, he's getting a patron. And he might be stealing the one that I wanted, but we'll see what happens. Then I'm going to put that 1 where? Do I want to repair a horn? Oh, I do actually. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. He's going there. He's also repairing. Yeah, but they'll take the leftmost even if they even want a horn. Yeah, okay. Good, my turn. I need the 5 here. No, I need the 5 here to make a 6. This 3 becomes a 4, which, no, I need that there. I won't get the double. They do this. Placing at the music. Yay. And I'm going to put this here. Have to. All right. So they're activating first, but we have to reorganize these. This is a 3. This is a 2. This is a 1. This is a 2. Like that, which means they are doing that first. And they are going to take it from me, I'm sure of it. Because they've got a 3 plus whatever this is. 4 and 1, but they go first. Because that is a 4 for them. And unfortunately they are, oh wait, no, this is repairing. What am I doing? No. People. I've got a 3 and they've got a 2, but their 2 is actually a 5. So they are going first. And unfortunately that does mean they're aiming for pink, which is this one. They are going to steal Brahms from me. Yuck. Which means I could take Tartini for free. I could spend to take Bach, but I don't wanna. Do I? This is 1 point per performances in guitar. I have 1. I could do more. They're not great because they're already sort of taken care of. But Bach requires me to spend lots of stuff to get there, and I can't get there. So I need to do that. And I will do that because I will do, yeah, they're gonna repair horn and they'll always take the leftmost one. Means I need a medal. Yeah, I'll place him there and get a medal. That was their turn. My turn. Hold on, this comes back. Apprentice goes bye-bye. I need to go shopping because if they trigger repairs, I need the money to do what I need to do. I have it though. But, yeah, do I repair now? I might as well, right? But the repairing of a horn was stupid. The repairing of a horn was just to help him and I can't. But repairing a horn does get me a chair. Yeah, let me do that. But they're going to go first, which means they're going to steal that chair because that's also a horn. Anyway, it's not going to matter. Let's trigger it. I've got a 1. They've got a 1 plus 1, unfortunately. So their 2 beats my 1. They're going first, which means they want a horn because of the new guy they just got. It would have been a guitar. But hold on a minute. Yeah, they try the leftmost, but they want to find one from the face-ups first. Leftmost means they are going to take that one. Which means 2 points for them, plus they are placing out a repair in the horn section, which means it's got to be this one. But they're not going to take it over. Oh, wait, horns. Horns means they're taking that. And that will get attached to Brahms. And that goes to them. Then I'm also repairing. I will be using the brown one to repair this guy. And unfortunately, because they stole Brahms out from under me, I get 2 points. 1, 2, and I do place out a thing, but now they're all blocked up. I am going to go here, though, because if I can get another natural horn, I will steal that from them. So that's worth it, but I don't have anybody to attach that to. That comes home. His turn, he's activating instruments, flipping this over. It doesn't matter what it is because I don't compete. He wants a horn because Mech already has her guitar. So he's going to take that horn, attaching that to Brahms. Oh, wait a minute. No. Stop. There's already a horn. That would have attached itself automatically to Brahms when he took it. Means he is looking to get, a horn anyway. But, they only search the deck if there's a patron that needs something. There's no patron that needs something. Which means they're going to take not horns, not percussion, only strings are available, so they're just going to take the leftmost strings, which is that one. Like that goes there. Now my turn, I am roughing it with a 5, means I use 1 less resource. Wait a minute, no I'm not, I'm shopping first, slow down. This is everything I need for the first one. The second one. So I need 3 of those things. So shopping means 6 and 4 is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shopping. Gets me 2 wood and a metal like that. Yes. Then they take their... Oh, they did that already. Sorry. I'm out of order. That didn't happen yet. That didn't happen yet. It's not going to change anything. They'd be doing that right now, but they should have done a performance last time. I put that token in the wrong spot. When they perform, this is actually their first performance, they're going to check their value here, which is a 4. But then also on their board, they're going to add this, which is 2, so they're at 6. Plus, on their performance card, there is a value here of 7. So 6 and 7 is 13. Just checking the other cards for any special things. 13. And they want to perform pink if possible, which is possible by taking this one. But they cannot. They cannot because they don't have the search. This is level 1. So not pink, then yellow. They're both yellow, so they'll take the furthest from the deck, which is this one. And with a 13, they will get a point and place out a music. In yellow, which is this pyramid here, they're all full up. They're going to place in a spot that has the fewest tokens that aren't instruments, so they are going to place here at that loot. And again, that yellow does no good for them as far as attaching to somebody because they were looking for pink. All right, then that would have been their turn. Now their turn right now would be this, and then had done this, so now this is their 4th turn. I just did them out of order, I'm sorry. Because I did 1, 2, 3, this is my 4th turn. Now I do this for 5, gets me 2 of these inspiration tokens. And I spend 1 less, means 2 wood and 1 metal to move that here. And that's done. And then I used this one, flipping that over, which is this, is a 3, plus 1 from my ability is a 4. So I spend 1 last resource, which I don't need to do anyway, but I will save the metal because it's expensive. And when I use this, I add 1 to each instrument that's finished. So I'm going to score, instead of 7, 8, and I'm going to put out a thing in timpani. So first 8 points is 39, and this goes to timpani, which I already own, but because I'm replacing my own thing, I still get wood, an inspiration, and a money. So that means 1 wood, 1 inspiration, and 1 coin. Then that also does flip over and finishes off Sviten. Ah, it doesn't. It just resets Sviten. That's fine. He needs 1 more repaired strings or blue performance, but that's fine. That comes back to me, and that's the end of round 4. So upgrading here, this goes back 2. Performance goes back 2. Instruments go back 2. Repairs go back 2. Then music moves forward 1. Instruments forward 1. Music forward 1. And instruments forward 1 like that. 2 is higher than 2. So we're going to a level 2 patrons. 4 is higher than 2, so we're going to a level 2 performance. 3 is 3 or higher, so we are going to a level 3 instruments, which again now also unlocks that a bonus slide, and 1 is not 3 or higher, so that is that. Shuffling those back in. Rotating the market, 2, 3, 4 becomes 3, 3, 4. Things got just a little more expensive. Like that. Back at the main board, getting rid of 1s, no, 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 and no. Sliding in and filling in. 1, 2. Sliding in and filling in. We do have a pink performance now, but I don't need that anymore. I need blue, and there's only here. Sliding in and filling in. Filling in 1 and 2. Still no strings. I'm in trouble with Sveten. I may have to pay for that. We shall see. I don't like it, but I might have to. Or that. Okay, because I don't want him to run away. 10 is a lot, but we'll see what happens. Okay, then this didn't change. We move to round 5, means I get my 4, he gets his 5. Shuffling up his pieces. We stop there. All right, then looking at round 5. AI is going first, but first let me do everything I need to do. I get an apprentice from that guy. I advance to get 5 money and another apprentice. All right, so what am I at? 7 money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inspiration. I gotta get this guy done, but I have an extra round now. So we could kind of hope that something happens. Looking at the board, there is a repair piano. Bach is not a bad idea. There's also some nice options for strings over here. So this might just be a sort of keep it going kind of round, doing that, and maybe fancy going there so I don't get locked out. Does the lute have an instrument? It doesn't though. But there's not a bad idea, because this is also a third type of person that I don't have from those guys. But the strings can also work for my other guy over there. Getting here is not a bad idea. Performances right now don't help me. That will come out next turn though, and that will be fine for Sveten. So yeah, here, here, here for him. And here maybe then? I think that's it. I think that's it, that's it. Except coming here, I'm not gonna do that. And this is only 1, and I need 2 to at least score on that. But 6 money or 2 apprentices is also not a bad idea. Otherwise, I come here twice, getting those for him and for the guy that I've already got. Yeah, that might be the option. I get 5 actions though, so my 5th action might be there. Or if I come here with a 4 or higher, I can instantly slot one of those in and start building. And I've already got a white, and I've already got a wood. No, I've already got a wood, no white. But that could be nice, because then I get a resource from there. Yeah, maybe. Performance is cool, though, because I got this. He needs a yellow performance instead of a repair. But repairing pianos is what I want for my thing, and I've only done one of them so far. Yeah, that. Okay. Pushing up here is not that important, so I don't need to go huge there. Sliding back here is also less important. So I think I want to go here twice with big stuff. And I might go here with big stuff to be first in the next round. In any case, he places first. Let's see what he does. Instruments. All right. Ah, no, he doesn't. Stop. If he already has 2 instruments, which he does, that card discards. And he's going to take a workbench action. So he's not going to take any instruments this turn. So all I need is 2 4s to get 2 stuff. And then maybe I could do that. Yeah, and this is an automatic. So if I can put a 2 here, 2 goes there. 4 and 3 plus 1 goes there. Unless, hold on. Can I get a loot built this turn? White, white. If I go there with a 4 and a 5, for example. Hold on. If I go here with a 4 and a 5, 2 goes there. This 3 by itself goes here. This 2 by itself goes here. That gets me 2 resources. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have 1 of them. That's 5 resources. Minus 2 is 3 resources, 2 of which is white. But that's 3 is 9. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I could do that. I think so. And then 1 are apprentices. I don't know what to do with that. But yeah. Okay. Then what am I doing with my 1, 2, 3? Oh yeah, I wanted to perform. Let's do that. There's a 3 performance. He flips again. Whoops. Workbench again. All right, he's building some instruments this time. That's fine. I'm going to place a 5 here. He goes again. Music performances. I'm going to place a 4 here as well. He goes again. Balcony. Well, he's keeping his first place marker. Not that it would have changed anyway. It does mean he's finally going to place out an objective, and I'll show you how that works. I'm going to place out this 2 here because it will be a 3. He goes again. He's placing out... Huh? Oh, right, this was 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's why. He's placing on repair. Then I go again, placing my 3 here, and that is that. He's placing first, but let's reorganize. Workbench always goes last. This is a 0. This is a 2. This is a 2, but it's higher up than that. So this is the order he's doing, which really stinks. Ah, what am I doing? Hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm a problem. This was a mistake. That's my last placement anyway. It's going there. I need to get Bach. That was silly. Yeah, that was a mistake. Okay. Ah, no, that's what I was doing. What was I thinking? What was I thinking? No, this is what I was thinking. And I'm sorry to retcon this, but that's what I was thinking. I have no idea why I put that in performance. That's what I was planning the whole time. Yeah, done. Good. He's performing. 3 plus 2 is 5. Plus 9 is 14. He's trying to perform pink. And he can. And with a 14, that is the highest they can get. 3 points. 1, 2, 3. And a performance token in pink. They're looking for the lowest number of tokens, which is any of these 3, because they're not going to try and steal from their own. Although it doesn't say that. It just says least repair performance tokens. So any of those 4 is fine. They're looking first at wind instruments, which are these 2. And if there are if there are 2 options, I'm going to roll one of these white dice. And based on what is rolled, it will place. With a 1, it says I should place on the left, so they're going to go right there. Now, this pink performance would work for either of them, but they're always aiming left first. So this guy is now complete. Sorry, girl, I keep saying that. 8 points for them. When they complete, they just sort of stick it off to the side. It's not going to mean anything. It's just keeping track of them. So they're going to score 8 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 32. And then their patrons will always slide over to fill in holes. So that guy's going to move over there like that. And that is their music turn done. Now, get my head back into the game. I need to come over here to music, sorry, patrons. That is a 3, which is silly. I wouldn't have spent those. Yeah, I know it's retconning, but it's hard to keep track all of this stuff on camera. There's no reason I would have done that, but let's say I did anyway. Sorry, there's 2 away. That is my 3. All I'm doing is taking this guy because 3 is not enough for that. This goes here. Those 2 are actually not in there yet because they're part of the action I'm currently doing, but there is still 1 there that I can take. Now those go back. Yes. So now those are all filled up. Good. This comes back to me. AI's turn again. They are activating their balcony, which does mean this goes here. But also now, looking at their balcony card, double checking I didn't miss anything there, they're placing on the lowest valued slot of, their first one here says the middle. So whatever's the lowest value slot of the middle thing, which is going to be this one for 1 point. Like that. Good. My turn. Huh? What did I do? Ah, right. He's got 1 more turn left. That's going to happen next turn. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. Instruments. Let's just do it. First one is a 4. Gets me this loot, which instantly slots into here because I did place a 4 or higher, and I get a free resource. Yes. Which I might as well take the more expensive ones, although they're not always more expensive. That is 1 wood. Then his turn again. Whoops, that 1 came back to him. He's activating the repair. He wants a horn. There is 1. It is a 4-pointer. He can't play a 4-pointer. So he will look through here for a 4-pointer. And there is the first horn. It is a 2, so he can successfully complete that one. So he's going to get 2 points, placing out 1 of these repair tokens at a horn. They're all full, but by placing here, he will steal that chair from me. And then with this horn repair, he does place that there like that. That comes home. My turn. My other instrument, sorry, that 4 is gone. Again, I take this, slotting it instantly onto my board, getting a free resource, which will be a white token. Like that. That comes back to me. He takes a workbench action, which is going to work on the one that helps him first. So a couple of things. First things first, let's do that. 6 points and an instrument at bassoon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bassoon is this one. Sorry, already blocked off. I keep getting lucky with that. This comes back and it flips, finishing him. So he gets another 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. Then, if we come back and look at the workbench action that he's used, he will get 1 level up on this track because of that token. My turn. I am roughing it with a 2 plus a 1 from my ability. Means I get 2 of these things. Oh, I didn't pay attention though. I got lucky. That's a white and 2 wood because I didn't place enough to spend less, but that's fine. This moves over there. Like that. And those go away. AI takes their final turn, which is workbench. There's no cards, so they're not going to get anything special for it. They don't get another level for it because it's already been done here. This will score, but they have no patrons, so they're going to get 4 points. 1, 2, 3, and 4, which means they have crossed their 50 threshold. I'll stick that right there. Plus, they're placing out on loot, which is a shame because that's what I was just about to do. They beat me to it, means they do steal that chair. And now I can't. Sad, but that's okay. My turn, I'm shopping. I forgot to move that back because there's no way I went shopping this turn already. So moving this over here, I need to go shopping. I need at least 1 white and 2 wood. That's 9. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I could spend more to start planning for next turn. There is only one more round, and that's a lot of resources that I don't think I'm going to get done. Yeah, that may have been a mistake, because I don't think I'm going to be able to finish him. But that's fine. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Gets me a white and 2 wood. AI is already finished, so I will take my final turn here, which is a 3 plus 1 is a 4, so I spend 1 less resource. So just a white and a wood. We'll finish this, scoring 4 points, and I would place an instrument at the loots, but unfortunately that just goes at the bottom now. 4 points, 1, 2, 3, and 4 like that. But that does flip over then, and it does finish Tartini, which gets me another 2 points and pushes me up on that track. 1, 2, I slide up here, which gets me a new ability, which are, after completing any action, may reset any one of your patron cubes. Not great. Instead of completing either guild location action, means the instruments, I could draw the top 3 cards of the instrument deck, keep 1, and discard 2. Not great. When revealed at the guild location, +2. I don't really need any instruments, but I might want to for my thing. And +2 means I can automatically slot in a 2 at my board. Yeah, I think that's the one. So bring that back to my board. This instrument goes away. He flips over, which now says at the end of the game, I am scoring 1 point for every music that I've played on strings, or every strings performance that I've done. And right now, looking at strings performance, I have 1. If I get lucky, I'll try and get a second one. All right, then we upgrade here again with a 3. Oh, not yet, not yet, not yet. First things first, this slides back 2. Hammer slides back, it can't. So moving portrait forward, moving this forward, moving hammer forward, moving instruments forward, moving patrons forward, and now I'm moving instruments forward 1 more. It can't go forward 1 more, but you see this icon here means that the AI will be drawing 1 card from the top of the instrument deck, which is a guitar or a string, which is sad because I was hoping I could get that instead of having to do this fancy one that I don't know that I'll ever complete. Because that's a lot of resources to try and squeeze out in this last turns, but we'll see what happens. Then, leveling up. This is a 3+. Music or performance goes to level 3. Level 1 does nothing. 4 does level up the repairs to a 3. Then this 2 does nothing for that one. This 5 wasn't connected to a card because it was the wrong card. So that's it for leveling up for the game, because that's it for them. Shuffling up their cards because this will be the final round. That goes there, and I might as well shuffle these now because there is no more after this. Like that, which means I do need to assign a value to this card. And since it's a +2 and a 4 triggers the bonus, I think I'm going to make that my 2. So that star is now a 2. Cycling the market. Of course, everything got more expensive. That's the worst thing I wanted to see right now for this guy. But we'll see what happens, because I don't think I'm going to finish him with 2 things anyway. But if I can get this at least to here, it will score partial points at the end of the game, which is half of the points. So I would get 4, 5, I think, rounded up. Let me double check that. Yes, rounded up. So that will be 5 points at the end if I can manage to at least get it into finishing. But coming back to the board, clearing up, this one goes away. That's it. Sliding down, filling in. Filling in. I need that. Filling in. Sliding down and filling in. Like that. Did I do that already? Sorry, I can't remember just now if I refilled that. I thought I checked everything was pulled, but I don't remember refilling this, so I think I didn't do that, and if I did, I apologize. It doesn't really change things too much, but it is a mistake if I'm doing it, and I will leave a subtitle, and you will have just seen. Anyway, this goes back out of the way. We move into round 6. In round 6 now, I need to score some things. I only have 1 performance, so I'm never getting that. I do have 2 different kinds of people, but the problem is, to get my 3rd, I need to finish Bach. And fixing a piano is not a problem. But building a violin, building this theorbo is impossible. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 resources. Minus 2 at the most is 8 resources. I got no money. Yeah, that ain't happening. But anyway, let's do this. I get an apprentice. I get 3 money. 1, 2, 3. I get 1 wood. Well, I could get a violin, and I could easily finish the violin. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is this performance? Maybe. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I can easily do that. It's not worth 9 points, but it is worth him finishing, which gets me other things. Which means, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't score that. And Sweeten is 2 points plus 7 points plus a performance in blue. Performance in blue doesn't get me a chair though, so that's 2 and 7 is 9 points. The other guy though is 5 plus 7. Yeah, I'm not performing. I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4 on the other side, and 5 is here. And the next thing he's scoring is the right scoring, which is here. So he's not going to touch that this round. So I don't have to do anything big there. I can put a 1 right there. That's great. Means these are both pianos. And I already have that resource. Oh, I can spend 2 here to spend 1 less resource too. Ah, perfect. Okay. Then it's not gonna matter, but I'm gonna put a 5. No. Hold on. Instrument is violin. Violin I can steal away. So I want to put a 6 there. I don't get my extra point for that, but I do get an extra thing. Yep, that 5 is going to go there. Which means my 4 can go there. Ah, no. If I play my 3 here with 2 apprentices, that's a 5, 6. That's cool. Then the 4 goes here. The 2 goes to the instrument track because it's helpful. And the other thing I need to do is that, which will get me money. Because I do need to buy some resources. No, I just need to buy 1 white resource, 2 white resources, but I don't need that if I spend 2 of those. Okay, then let's say, I don't know. I don't care. 5 goes there. Ah, but wait a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. The AI goes first. Balcony. I place my 5 there. AI's turn. Instruments. He's not going to take it because he's looking for wind, which is that. So good. So I'm going to put my star there anyway, because that makes it a 4, which is great for that. Oh, in which case, I don't need to spend any money outdoor shopping because I can get the resource from there when I get the violin. All right, he places his third out, which is the workshop. My turn. I'm placing out, what else did I need to do? Balcony. Oops, just like that. It's a 1, but that's all I need it to be. But wait a minute. No. If I put a 4 there, if I can accomplish that, no, because I can't build an instrument before Bach goes, because I need that to happen after, so the 1's fine. He places his 4 on Peoples, over there. I place this 4 here, which makes it a 5. He goes next. Last action is a performance. My last action is this 3, 4, 5 here. Reorganizing his things. Faces, music, and balcony are all 3s in that order. Workshop always goes last, like that. He's going first. He's going to activate the portraits, which means he's looking at pink first. Yes. Goes there, like that. That's level 2, nothing happens. My turn. I'm gonna trigger this. I've got a 2 plus 2 is 4. He's got a 3 plus 3 is 6. So he's choosing first. And the person that he just got needs wind, so that will go to them. They're gone. And I need a violin, but I got to spend for it. So I can spend 1, 2, 3 money, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Uh-oh, hold on a minute. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, wait a minute. That's a problem. That's a problem. Undo, undo, undo. Undo. Because I will have enough money in a minute. Undo that. That's going to happen on their turn. My turn is I have to repair first. I have to repair first. But the problem is that's going to get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Huh? Why did I just count wrong? I can't count. This is fine. This is fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's fine. I was counting 8 plus the 3. No, that's fine. So they did do that. Which also means because they use this card, this goes up 1. And then I am spending the 8 to take this violin. But because I used the 4 higher, I get a free resource, which will be animal. I'm off the screen, which will be animal. And I get to slot that for free. So over here, I take an animal, and that slots for free. And I did have to spend all of this stuff. Well, those go away. That comes home. His turn now is activating the balcony. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, that's a problem. I wasn't thinking at all, because there's no way that he'll finish in time. Oh well, balcony's done. Means I don't get my thing. And I only played a 1, but his is a 1 plus 3 is a 4. Yeah, that's a mistake. Oh well. That means that he's going first. He's placing his thing in the lowest spot on the right side, which is there for 2 points. 1, 2. Grr. And that's that for him. Now for me, I can either take a bunch of money, and 10 things at the end counts as 1 point, but that's silly because, yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter where I take it from. I'll take it from here because the patron's just going to get me an extra cube, which I don't really need right now. But yeah, let's do that. I'm going to do that. I can only place there because I didn't finish the thing. I do have 2, but 2 is blocked, so I'm only going to get 1 point for that. And I don't think I gave them points. I don't think I gave them 2 points. If I did, I'll subtract that at the end in the subtitles. Sorry, distracted. But I did that, but that also means because I used the one from there, I get to take one of these 3 guys. They all need percussion. I'm not going to finish any of them right now, so I don't care which one I'm taking. I'm just taking it because when I put it here, I will get a resource. And it doesn't matter what I take, but I will take a wood. Yes. And I go there. Like that, and that is their turn, my turn again. Yeah, that was sad, but I am repairing, which gets me a 5. And now I can pick from either of these. I was aiming for that because it was cheaper, but now I'm going to do this. And I don't need to spend this anymore. I got 1 white, 1 wood, and 1 metal to do that one. And that means I get 3 points, 1, 2, 49. And I place out this in a piano area, which isn't gonna matter because I can't take it, but I'll put it there, which gets me 2 points or a thing. 2 coins is better because each piece is worth potentially adding up to points. Each 10 things is points, so we'll do that. This does flip and go here, but that's not gonna matter because I won't finish them because I think instead, no. No. I can't finish him. I am finishing Bach. That's my turn. 5 comes back. AI is doing performance, which is going to be a 4 plus 0 plus 9 is 13. They don't have any preference, so they are looking for pink first. No, then yellow, yes. With a 13 is bigger than the 11, so 2 points here plus music at yellow. And that goes nowhere because they don't have any people that need it, but music at yellow is here. And all that means is they're going to clinch that spot. So I can't take the chair from them. That comes home. My turn. I am doing this roughing, and I could do both if I could pay for both, but I can't pay for both. But I do get 2 of these back. And I do get this for 1 less resource, because this is a 4 plus 1 is 5. So I'm going to get rid of 1 of those to move this over here like that, and that's done. He takes his final action, which is a workbench, which means they will finish this one, which means they get 4 points, and they're going to place an instrument on the transverse flute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Transverse flute is already blocked by me. Sorry. And that will flip over and then does finish Farin. So he gets another 3 points for that. 1, 2, 3, like that. Good. Then my final turn is this, which is the 3 special, 4, 5, plus 1 is 6. I am getting an additional point. To finish this, I need a wood, but minus 1 resource, so I need nothing. They just love me. 2 points, and I place on a violin. So 1, 2, I am also now crossed the 50 threshold. I place on this violin, stealing it from him, getting a white cube and a inspiration. So 1 white cube and 1 inspiration. Like that. And then that flips over and does indeed finish off Bach, which scores another 5 points and slides the star again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This moves over 1. Unfortunately, I'm not doing any more instruments for that, but Bach does then flip over, going in here. And that does mean I'm scoring now 1 point for every workshop, sorry, every repair in yellow, of which I have, oh yeah, 1. Okay, cool. And then these cards go away. And that's that for me, I believe. Sorry, 1 more point because I did use, those go back here. 1 more point because of this. So I actually get 1 more on the point tracker. And I was thinking something else. I can still take a market action. And remembering at the end of the game, I score 1 point for every 10 things that I have. So these is only 2 things, but if I take a market action and I sell those 2 things, that becomes 5, because that's a 1 and a 4 makes 5. So that will potentially push me to a point. Done. And sorry, his workshop action when he did that did have an envelope, so that goes up 1 more. Now we check last thing for these things. This goes back 2. This goes back 2. Nothing. Music goes back. It's already back. Then this moves forward 1. Music goes forward 1. This goes forward 1. And I'm doing this because they can potentially trigger actions that get things. This moves forward 1. Again, the face goes forward 1, and instruments. So we got lucky he didn't get any extra stuff at the end. 2 does not upgrade this. 3 does not get them envelopes. 1 doesn't upgrade this. 4 would upgrade this, but there's no more rounds, so it doesn't matter. But 5 does trigger 1 more of these. That is the end of the game. So we go into final scoring. And the first thing we're checking in final scoring is first chairs. Sorry. We do have this wonderful cheat sheet. The first thing we're taking a look at is this. So we're counting up the number of chairs we have, and then in this game, we're going to score this many points. So for the AI, they've got nothing there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So with 4, they score 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. For me, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 points for me also. Then we're going to look at my personal goals, as well as the AI. I need instruments in horns, and I need repairs in piano. So looking at the main board, repairs in piano, I have 1, 2, and with 2, I score 3 points. 1, 2, 3. And then instruments on horns, unfortunately, is just 1. So I'm only going to get 1 point from that. And this is where the AI is going to hurt me because they got up to 6 on their personal objective track. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for them. Any leftover instruments that either were roughed and not finished on my board, or for the AI were connected to a patron at the end of the game and hadn't been built yet, would score. Neither one of us has those things. My powers, I've got 1 point for performances and strings, and 1 point for fixing repairs in yellow. So performances and strings is just 1. And repairs in yellow is also just 1, so that's 1, 2. And then finally, we get 1 point per special worker we've got, and 1 point per 10 things, meaning money, resources, and inspiration at the end. So that's 1, 2. And this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's only 1 set of 10. So 1, 2, 3 more points for me. On the board is 18, 19, 20, and it's super close. Even if I had already given the AI the 2 points, which I wasn't sure if I had, they've either beaten me 71 to 70 or 73 to 70. But in either case, it's a very, very, very close game. And it all came down to the timing on that. If I had scored that instead of the 1 point, I would have won the game. That's a super close game, but I think that was also a great representation of how the game plays. So I'm happy how everything turned out on camera. So at this point, I like to show off the components. You've seen pretty much everything there is to see on screen already. I have to say this game is gorgeous. It looks wonderful. I love the artwork. I love all of the different characters. They're all based on real people, and I'm sure the homework was done just like the homework was done with Distilled previously. Really, really, really great look of the game. This board is wonderful. It is big. It definitely takes up a lot of space. I'll give them a slight negative ding for that, but it looks so pretty and it feels really cool on the board. I love how the objectives are sort of extra like towers or minarets on top of this giant symphony hall, I guess. The other side, this sort of wood table look of your sort of repairs table or your workshop looks really cool. This piece here is somewhat silly, but also really cool that it works as a sort of tracker of who's going first in what order. The resources are just cubes, but I love this untreated wood look of the actual wood pieces. Really, really cool componentry, really lovely design style. One thing I should show, coming back to the main board for a minute, very silly, but it comes with this sort of conductor's baton. I think this was inspired by Paul Grogan. He uses a stick in many of his videos to point at things, to teach things to people. So I could have been using that in my video as well instead of using my finger, but I don't want to step on Paul's feet. He does a great job and I want to be my own guy and not him. But that is in the box and it is kind of fun that it's in there, especially if you're at a table with a lot of people. You can sort of point to things from far away across the table as you're teaching the game to people. Really cool. I'm not going to show off everything that I didn't use because, well, there's a whole lot of stuff that I didn't use, but I just want to show you there are a ton of public objective cards. There are, coming back to the other side of the screen, there are a ton of different families that all have different abilities. Just to give you some idea, place a starting instrument straight under your finishing bench so it skips the whole roughing phase. You can go to market right at the beginning of the game. Plus you start with lots of money because that's what you need to buy your ingredients with or your resources with, and up one on the star track. Really cool. Start with performance of skill level 5. Start with extra instrument, double patron placement bonus from your starting patron, extra patron. Really, really cool little twists that add extra variability to the game. There's also a ton more of the private goals as well. Just lots and lots of variability, even for the AI, which is awesome. There's a whole stack of different priorities for the AI, different starting levels on this, because remember, this dictates the order of things. This dictates, based on these things at the bottom, which of their things are stronger or weaker. So it definitely gives the AI a sort of personality as it's playing the game. So all of these really do play differently, different priorities, different order of scoring or different priorities of the public objectives. Really cool to see a bunch of different AI systems, but I'm getting ahead of myself because that will be talked about in my final thoughts shortly. Just to show you again, you did see the red, the gray, and the yellow pieces. The other player pieces are this sort of dark royal blue color. Really nice colors, very differentiated from each other. That's basically all I can show you as far as the setup is concerned. While we're talking about variability for the 2-player, there's also a ton of those starting orchestra setup cards as well that changes up which instruments are removed and which locations are blocked and so on. Last thing, well, let me talk about this real quick. I just want to point this out because I'm a little bit happy about it. The game does come with 2 books in here. And this is the real rule book. And it's a pretty thick rule book, but it's very well laid out and very easy to understand. But this is what I wanted to point out, because this does 3 things and it's really, really cool. The rehearsal first. The beginning of this book is like a step-by-step walkthrough of your first multiplayer game of the game. I didn't use it because I only played this solo so far, but it's really cool that somebody who might be a little bit scared by the complexity of this game has a step-by-step walkthrough of the first round to show you how it works and really help you get into the game. And once you understand how it flows, then you play the rest of the game, and it still plays like a game your first time without struggling and having no idea what you're doing. Really cool. But then beyond that, in the middle here is the Luthier lore. So this is a description of, and I keep calling them yellow, blue, and pink. It's Baroque, classical, and romantic. The different eras of music that these composers and patrons are performing or are connected to in some way. A history of all of the different patrons in the game. Really, really cool. History of the different instruments or description of the different instruments in the game. descriptions of the families that are your sort of starting player abilities. All of this shows a ton of care went into the design of this game as far as making it sort of realistic to the theme that it's portraying. Really, really cool to see that. And then also in the back of this is the solo rules, which means the solo rules and the game rules are separate from each other. So you can refer to both at the same time, which is very, very helpful as a solo player. They also have some great stuff on the back. I mean, this is already on the player aids, and the player aids in this game are wonderful, but all of this information is also on the book as well as the player aids. But then also in the back of the regular rulebook, and this is great, is there are just pages and pages of description of what all of the different icons. So if you don't understand what, say, the patron powers that show up on these cards do, you can check here. If you don't understand what all the track symbols on the board mean, you can check right here. If you don't understand what all of the extra locations and the bonuses on the board do, you can check here. It's super, super easy to reference, and these are the kinds of things that you constantly need to reference for your first couple of games. So having it right here on the back of the rulebook is super helpful, and I just want to say thumbs up for the design of that. That's basically all I have to show you about the components. I do like to show the inserts of these boxes. Luthier is a giant box, but the insert is just a dual troughed cardboard thing that's generally there just to protect things in shipping. But it does look wooden, so it does look kind of cool. But otherwise, you can already see from what I've got in here, there's a whole lot of baggies going into this box, and there's a whole lot of stuff going into baggies. So it's not a great storage solution by any means, but visually it looks cool, and yeah, it's not anything. It's just a cardboard trough insert. That's basically all I have to say about the components and the insert. Let me back up top and I'll let you know what I think about the game itself.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. Boy, was that a close one. Really, really close to beating the AI, and I did make a few boneheaded decisions along the way, so probably if I wasn't distracted by the recording, I could have potentially pulled out a win, but I'm happy with that close result on camera for all of you to see. Here we go, another game now from designer Dave Beck and his publishing company, Paverson Games, this time joined by co-designer Abe Burson. I was a huge fan of his first game, Distilled, which was sort of taking a very classic mechanism of card drafting set collection kind of game, and then throwing in their own unique twist of, well, what happens if you collected a set and then before you use that set, you give it a shuffle and remove some cards at random? Do you still have the set that you need anymore? And they turned it into a really cool game about distilling different spirits, and on top of that, included a really awesome solo mode that sort of added in this interesting sort of goal scoring thing along the way. In any case, if you're interested, I do a video for that. You can take a look at the link that I'm pointing to up above me. But this is not that game. But this is now a follow-up from the same designer, or at least half designed by the same designer, same publishing company. And again, they're doing the same kind of idea where they're taking a sort of classic mechanism, this time worker placement, and then throwing in some kind of interesting twist to it. And in this case, it's using this sort of bidding system that's going to determine the sort of order that actions are taken out in, but then also potentially the level of how the action is taken, and also potentially additional bonus actions that you are triggering based on the worker you're placing there. So let me go ahead and explain what's going on. It is at its heart a worker placement kind of resource management contract fulfillment kind of game where you as a luthier are trying to sort of bring in patrons, and those patrons are going to require certain things to happen. They're going to ask you to build weapons, build instruments for them, repair instruments for them, and then also perform with specific kinds of instruments. And those are sort of three of the main actions you're going to be taking: building instruments, repairing instruments, and performing. And all of these then are also going to tie into using those instruments in sort of an orchestra and hopefully claiming first chair for each of those instrument types. But I'm getting ahead of myself because that brings in a completely separate mechanism that I will talk about a little bit later. But let's focus on this idea of worker placement, because there are a variety of different places you can place out your workers, which are these discs that have numbers on them. And those are going to be building instruments is a two-step process. The first action, roughing, sort of building out the frame of the instrument. And then the second action, finishing up and sort of polishing up and making that instrument shine the way it does because you as the luthier have made that special instrument yourself, right? So it's a two-step action, but each of those actions is pretty much the same, using your worker to go there, paying a set number of resources, specific resources for that specific instrument to sort of begin building and then finish building that instrument. And when you do that, you're going to score points, but you'll also place one of that instrument type out into the orchestra. And if you're the first one there, or the first one to have placed an instrument there, you will claim first chair, which again, I will come back to. Those two actions are on your player board, but on the main board, there are 5 regular actions, and those are going to be bringing in new patrons, bringing in new instruments that you could potentially build for those patrons, repairing instruments, and performing at the orchestra, basically, using whatever kind of instrument that it specifically wants to be, or more realistically for these, performances is not instrument-based, but sort of style of music, romantic music, Baroque music, those kinds of things in different kinds of performances. And each of these patrons that are coming to visit you or that you're sort of bringing into your workshop are going to be looking for specific instruments to be built, again, instruments to be repaired, or specific types of music to be performed. So these are the 4 sort of main actions, how you're getting patrons, how you're getting instruments, and those are simply just going to be drafting cards by placing your worker at that location. The repair section is similar to building instruments because you need to spend resources, but you have to take the repair action instead, then scoring some points for having repaired that instrument, and again, fulfilling some wish of the patron if that patron is looking for that instrument to be repaired. The performance is a little bit more complicated because the performance is going to be based on a sort of threshold of strength, how good you are at your performance. And the performance is going to be, that level is going to be determined by the value of worker you place at the location. And this is the first time that for the main action, the value of worker actually means something, at least for the main action. We'll talk about bonuses in just a second. But the value of the worker you place there, plus rolling 2 dice, and the value of whatever number comes up on those dice, plus the value of the worker, is going to determine how well you performed at that type of music. And if you perform well enough, again, you're going to claim potentially chairs in that orchestra. Same thing when you're repairing instruments, those instruments may also become chairs in that orchestra. But with the performance, again, the value of your worker is going to be meaningful. There is one more action on the board that is mostly there for 2 reasons. One, to determine player order. You can go with a high-valued worker into the balcony, and hopefully then you will claim the turn order for the following round, because whoever goes to that location in order of highest to lowest worker value, you will claim the first position or the first player position for the next round. But also while you're there, by placing your worker there, you could take 6 money, you could take 2 apprentices, which I'll talk about in just a second, or you could also then claim one of several sort of public objectives that are in the game. So in addition to trying to do the things to fulfill what the patrons are looking for, there are specific scoring things in the game that you're trying to do more of to fulfill specific public objectives that will randomly come out every time you play this game. And in order to trigger one of those, you need to have enough stuff done. Then you take that balcony action, which allows you to place out one of your pieces onto one of those objectives. So all of these different actions are being triggered by placing out workers, except it's not just a worker placement, I place, you place, I place, you place, taking the action when you place. Again, each of your workers has a numbered value on it. And when you place the worker, nothing happens. You take turns placing out workers, and then once all of the workers have been placed, then you activate the actions. And it's not just a matter then of taking turns activating the actions, because multiple people can place at the same location. And when someone on their turn decides to take a specific action, everyone who's at that location is activated. And the order that they're going to activate is going to be based again on that worker value. Whichever has the highest value will go first, and whoever has the lowest value will go last. And in the case of a tie, whoever placed at that location first or earlier will take the action first. And this is going to matter because there aren't that many things to do at each of these locations. There aren't that many cards to take. And some of the cards that you can draft at these locations or interact with at these locations are going to cost you resources simply to interact with, unless you've sort of leveled up your ability to a point where you can interact with those things for free. So by getting to a place later, or by using a lower value, it may mean the card you're looking for is gone by the time it's your turn to activate that action. But it also means that you may not be able to get anything because you can't afford to pay for the thing that's still at that location. So it's not just a matter of you deciding where you're going, because a location may activate on somebody else's turn. So I think in my brain, I want to go here and get this thing, and then I want to go here and do this thing that connects to that thing. And then I need to get some resources, which is a separate action, which I'll talk about in just a second. And then I want to come and do this thing. But the problem is, I do this on my turn thinking this is the next thing that's going to happen. But on the next person's turn, they choose to do this thing over here instead. And guess what? That's one of the actions I put my token at, which means now I'm doing that action before I did this one. And the problem is, if I hope to get something from this that works with that, well, now the order is reversed and my whole plan is completely ruined. And I have to think on my feet and figure out, okay, how do I recover? What can I do instead? And the important thing is that each of these locations, aside from the main action, there's generally a secondary action that lets you get some kind of resource or lets you interact in some other way that sort of doesn't do the thing you want it to do, but at least you don't get nothing by getting messed up by going to that location. You still get some resources that might help you in some future turn instead. So the value of these workers is sort of an initiative tracker for each of these different actions. But on top of that, I've already mentioned in the performance section, it also determines how good your performance is. But there's one more thing, and that is that each of these different locations has a bonus. I can't really talk about the patron one because I haven't really talked about the patron cards yet, but the patron bonus will allow you to sort of reset a patron that you've got waiting for you at your workshop. The performance bonus lets you go up on a track that's going to make your ability to do performances get better. The bonus in the repair section, again, is also going to drive you up a track to make your repair stuff easier and better, or also building of instruments get more efficient. The balcony bonus is going to drive you up another track that gets you access to some of those expensive cards at the different locations on the board and gives you a variety of other abilities that lets you sort of interact with the game in different ways. And I should mention all three of those tracks also potentially give you access to a card that sort of levels up one of your workers and gives them some kind of special ability if you use them in some kind of specific way. And then the instrument track, if you get the bonus there, allows you to place that instrument onto your workbench right away to start roughing, because normally you can only do that at the start of the next turn, plus also gives you one extra resource. So you're trying to get these bonuses as much as possible. But at the start of game, you only have 1, 3, and 5 leveled workers. And as you go through the rounds, you're going to unlock your level 2 and your level 4. So you only have certain values, so you can't always get all the bonuses you want, because you also have to pay attention to beating out your opponent for things that need to get done, making sure that you're going to the right place, sort of sending the stronger workers to the performance, which I messed up on in my video big time. All of these values really mean something, and then there's also these apprentice tokens that I briefly mentioned a minute ago. And these are something you can collect that's like a resource, and you can sort of stack them with a worker when you place them out. And for each apprentice that you have, up to 3, because that's how many are available, you can raise the level of that worker by 1 for each apprentice. So this gives you a sort of one-use ability to boost the value of an apprentice, or sorry, of a worker, which you may also be able to boost through other abilities you're picking up throughout the game as well. So there's lots of thought going into which actions do I want to take, which order do I need to take them in, which numbers do I need to put out to make sure that the things I'm doing are good enough, to make sure I get as many of those bonuses that I need whenever I need them, and then also to make sure that my opponent isn't able to sort of snipe me or mix up the turn enough that I can't get the things done I want to because it's being done in the wrong order. And then on top of all of this, there's this resource management piece, because there's also a market in the game where you can actually go to buy and sell resources, and that counts as an action. So once you've got all your workers out, instead of activating a location where workers are, you can simply go to the market once per round to buy and sell resources at whatever that round's market value is, because those are going to change from round to round. So it might be smart, if you see the values coming down, if you have a lot of money, to buy a bunch of resources, even if you don't need them, because in a future round you can sell them off for more money and or sell them off to buy other things that you do need instead. And also at the market you can spend money to buy more apprentices, and if for some reason you do have a ton of money, you can also spend money to buy levels on the performance and repair tracks to make those abilities even stronger. So this market adds an additional sort of twist into the game that throws a wrench into the timing problem that I've already mentioned already, but then also sort of helps you figure out ways to get resources that you weren't able to get in different ways. It also helps you find ways to get money if you need to go buy a card and you don't have any money to get the card that you really want to get or the performance that you really want to perform, and so on. It gives you options, but also makes things more tricky with timing and so on. So I really love to see that addition thrown in there as well. Then on top of all of this, there is this sort of area majority mechanism as well with the orchestra pit. Because every time I build an instrument, I'm placing an instrument in the orchestra. Every time I repair an instrument, I'm placing a repair token in the orchestra. Every time I, every time I have a performance, I place a performance token in the orchestra. And these are also all going to get placed based on the instrument type that I placed, or the specific instrument that I built, or the type of performance that I've performed. And if I'm the first person in that location, I will get a first chair. And instruments placed later will always bump anything out of the way unless there's already an instrument placed at that location. Otherwise, repair and performance will take the spot if it's open and will be able to knock out another token if you've got more of your color than somebody else. You can push them out. But ultimately, the instruments will trump anything, and once there's an instrument in the first chair, that's it. It's locked off. And at the end of the game, you're going to score sort of increasingly larger values of points based on the number of first chairs you were able to claim and hold on to at the end of the game. Plus, you're scoring for any of those public objectives, which sort of focuses you on scoring certain things, special kinds of repairs, special kinds of performances, lots of performances, all different kinds of repairs, all different kinds of performances, collecting different kinds of patrons, and so on. So there's this sort of focus to try different things. You also start each game with private objectives that sort of do the same thing specifically for you. You're not competing for those, but those are also sort of focusing you on what kinds of things you're trying to get done, because there are a variety of different ways to score points, from repairs and building instruments and finishing patrons and finishing performances. I should also mention before I forget about it, the patrons are interesting because the patrons feel like they're actual patrons. They come to your workshop hoping that you'll build things and fix things and perform for them, but they're not going to wait around all day. And every round, there's a little cube under them that slides over one. And every time it slides over, they pay you a little bit of money, sort of holding you in retainer for the things that you're doing for them. But eventually, if you don't do all of the things they want you to, they're going to leave and they're not going to give you anything. So every time you slide a card in, every time you perform for them, every time you fix something, every time you build something, that cube slides back and they're happy again. They're willing to stay a little bit longer. So thematically, it makes a lot of sense, but it also adds in this really cool sort of time constraint, this really cool sort of pressure that the game is putting on you, that I need to make sure I get these things done first before these things, so that guy doesn't leave and I get nothing from that. So all of these things tied together to this really interesting sort of bidding strength level worker placement system that's quite different than any other worker placement system I've ever seen before. Plus this sort of resource management with the market of selling and buying resources to use to build things and fix things. Plus this idea of leveling up different abilities and leveling up your workers to give yourself new abilities to come at things in different ways. Plus the variety of the public objectives and the private objectives that really do focus you on completely different game style every time you play. Plus, add to the variability even more because at the start of the game you start with a family, and there are a bunch of families in the box, and each family gives you a different set of starting resources, plus some kind of unique ability that breaks the rules in some kind of way, or gives you some kind of extra something to start the game off with at the beginning of the game, and again, forces you to think about things completely differently every time you play. I'm loving all of this sort of complex interaction of all of these things, and how much variability comes out in this game, and how different it feels every time I play, despite having a somewhat standard worker placement, go here, get this, go here, get this, spend this to score points kind of system. All of these layers and all of these extra things to think about and all of this sort of timing you have to pay attention to makes for a really cool game. So what about the solo mode? There is sort of bidding in this game, and often when you hear bidding, the solo mode is not going to work because how do you make a deck of cards outbid a person? but it works really well because you know the pieces that they have. You know the values of workers they have, and theirs are going to be different because they start with 1, 2, and 3, and then get a 4, and then get a 5. So at the beginning of the game, you have one piece that completely beats anything they have, plus one piece that ties anything they have until they start leveling things up. So you can kind of predict what they're capable of doing. You don't know which one they're going to place out where because they're going to shuffle up their valued workers, and they're also going to shuffle out their cards because they've got one card for each action. And they're going to sort of randomly choose an action and then randomly choose a piece to put on that space. And it sounds very random, but you can make predictions. And you can understand later on based on their strength because they've got this special strength track that they're constantly increasing and decreasing the strength of each of their actions, which boosts the strengths of their workers, but also changes the sort of priority that they're looking at for which kind of actions they want to tend to do earlier and which kind of actions they don't mind doing later on their turns or in a completely round, I should say. So they've got this interesting, constantly changing based on which actions they've played, constantly changing focus on the things that they're trying to do, leveling up different things every time they play. And it really does feel like they've got a focus. Based on their priorities, you really can predict what they want to do, what they're going to try to do, and once you see what they're going to try to do, you can sort of slot yourself in between their timing with your timing, and sometimes their timing messes you up just like a multiplayer opponent would mess up your timing in a multiplayer game. It really feels pretty dynamic and pretty interactive as a solo mode for a sort of bidding-based worker placement game with area majority. I'm loving what this Solobot is doing. And I should mention that just like you have families that give you special abilities, the Solobot also has sort of cards. They're not families, I can't remember what they're called, but they have sort of different personalities, but they're not really so much personalities as I told you at the top of their board, they have this sort of strength level for each of the actions. Well, each of these cards starts that off in a different way, and it gives them different priorities for the different types of instruments when they're fixing instruments. It also gives them different priorities for the different colored or the different styles of performances, and it also dictates which of the public objectives they're focused on first, second, and third, so you can sort of predict where they're aimed as far as what you should get to first and what you can let sit around a little bit longer. So every time you play the AI or play the solo mode, it's going to have a slightly different strength to start off, and because of that slightly different strength, and because of the randomness of how their actions come out as cards, they are going to slowly level up in slightly different ways every time, forcing you to figure out a completely different puzzle every time, and it really is pretty amazing how different the solo feels every time you play through this game. I should mention, because the leveling up also happens based on the action they played, and the value of the worker they placed on it, that particular card might level up to let them do more powerful things with that particular action moving forward as well. And that's going to change, again, based on the randomness of the card and the randomness of the order of workers. All of it works together really well. I tend to be a fan of worker placement in general, but all of the twists that this is offering, along with a really cool theme of sort of classical music and instrument building, I'm really, really enjoying this game quite a bit. Big fan of Distilled now, big fan of this. Definitely keeping my eyes on where Dave Beck and Paverson are going next. Hoping that this gets the sort of expansion love that the other Distilled has gotten as well. Distilled's got quite a few expansions. I'm excited to see what comes out for this, if anything. But again, I'm really loving the sort of simplistic core of place a worker, take an action, get some resources, spend the resources for something, and then loving all of the complexity of the little stuff that twists all of that up in unique ways. Great AI system. Definitely big recommend from me. Very excited to see what's coming out from Paverson. I know they've got a sort of class of '89 high school themed kind of game coming out. And there's a Japanese, sort of ancient Japanese forestry game called Ringyo that's coming out. Very excited to see both of those. Big fan of this. If you're a fan of worker placement, if you enjoy sort of bluffing and bidding and sort of interesting timing of actions, if you enjoy a little bit of area majority thrown in as well, definitely give this one a shot. I will warn you, it has a very large footprint on the table, and it does get quite brain-burny, AP-inducing when you start getting into all of the different possibilities that are there for you. But at its heart, it's really not that complex once you've played through once or twice. It does get a little long, but I think the length is worth it in this one. I'm really enjoying this one. That's basically all I have to say about this. I hope that this playthrough was helpful for you, and as always, if you did enjoy it, I ask that you remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon below, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks.